Good evening and welcome to Flat Earth United. This is the behind the scenes section to Flat Earth Goes Mainstream. So the first thing I'm going to do is play out the trailer for this show. So, wasn't that exciting? At the moment, there's just me here, and I'll explain my reasons for that. So, prior to, I don't know, about half a dozen shows ago, I was just running the G+ only or OBS feed, and this is obviously the OBS feed. And unfortunately, when I did the G+ or OBS for that matter on Skype or whatever, if I wasn't broadcasting, there may be conversations as the guests join that the viewing audience would miss out on. So, although I'm going to make it aware or make the guests aware that they are live as they join, obviously the main show won't actually start until they're all here, and that will hopefully be in around 25 minutes time. So come 11 o'clock you can click on the link below the video, which is in the information box, which has a link to the G+ part of the show. If you're new to this channel, be sure to subscribe, hit the like button, and once this has rendered, leave a comment below. For the meantime, I'm going to cut across to my photographs just so I can share the link for the G+ show with my guests. So unfortunately, there will be a little bit of dead air in this particular stream. As I say, if you are watching this on the re-upload rather than listening to dead air and perhaps less interesting conversations, we shall see as the guests join, it might be an idea to just click on the link, and that will take you to the main introduction with me introducing the guests formally and us, well, talking about Flat Earth going mainstream, which is basically the point of this show. So if you can bear with me, as I say, I will go a little bit silent while I share the link. We'll also keep an eye on the chat room. So while I'm doing this, hello to Josh Corey, the Iron Realm. Good to have you. And Keith Parker. Hi, Nathan. Hello to you too. Justin, is that Justin Bell? Justin C.A. Bell, it looks like. Headlines debunked. Former guest, good to have you here. Elena, how are you? Hopefully have you on soon. How are you, Charlie? Good to have you. Right, let's stop. Go on the road. So I set up a show earlier. Yeah. Ah, well, this is the joys of YouTube streaming. Set up a new one. I'll just double check by swapping my account to make sure it has actually vanished. Or I had a link to it though, which I've shared. But there we go. Such is life. Right, let's see what the link does in the info box then. G+ main show. It's still there. This is bonkers. I get to it. Hmm. 23 minutes. Okay, why can't I start it then? I may as well actually show you what I'm trying to do. Let's just share my screens rather than you So this is obviously my OBS bit, and here there should be what I'm seeing here, which is the link to the YouTube Google Plus part of the show, but it doesn't appear to be there. Very strange indeed. Let's see if I can go in through, maybe going through Firefox. Although I've reinstalled this PC, but I don't have Firefox now. What a nightmare. Microsoft one called Edge. This is a first, I'm not going to lie. Okay. Ace McLeod, good to have you here. Creator Studio, eh? Okay. Streaming. Events. Seriously? It's vanished? Ah. Annoying. Thank you all for being here. This is my rolling advert for a show that doesn't actually exist yet. Wonderful, wonderful. Let's just make a new one. Part of this show will be me doing the tedious job of actually sharing the links for that new show. Wonderful, wonderful. Lots of hard work. Flat Earth goes stream live when 100 UK time. And by guests discuss Flat Earth. The main stream. Prepare for the worst and hope for the best. Indeedy do. Great event. Roll. Ah. Wouldn't you know it? Ah. Only on YouTube. Okay, so which one's the first one? Probably this one. Yes, it must be because there's people in the chat. Hello. Jolly good. This is the one. I'll transition back to my black screen, or my photos rather, so that you don't get to see my Hangout link key. Brandon Cook, good to have you here. Arwin, hello. Oh, seriously? It's happened again. So I'll just show this to the audience. Why not? Glad I'm live streaming things like this, because when they do happen, you can't really explain to somebody else what's going on. So there we go. I've just gone back into Edge and it has literally vanished again. Okay. So let's make a new one. Starts 22:30. Just switch. That one. Hmm. Why is it making me choose a home page that is either Bing or Bing? Always change these later in the tools menu. I don't want to do... What now? Give him using Edge. Not at all. Alright, let's create a 5th event in the vain hope that I can get into the event via Google. Same glitch occurs. No, it doesn't. Literally won't even let me start the show. Son of a bitch. So, the one thing I didn't want to happen has just happened. Shared the Hangout key while I'm broadcasting. Let's just check that did actually happen live. Yes, it did. Fucking hell. Full hangout key. Typical. I'm not going to risk using that one then. Did it? Can't quite tell if it showed the hangout key in full or not. Shall we risk it for a biscuit, I ask myself. Let's live on the edge. This one's been advertised. If it gets sniped, at least this show's still running. I'll just start it up again. It'll make it more eventful. Maybe I should take a vote from the chat. Can you still see me, chat? Where is the chat? Here we go. Previews. Twitter. Events, hangouts. Where's my chat then? Nowhere. Definitely not going as well as I hoped. But then again, that's why I'm doing it half an hour before the show starts. Got it. Right, let's actually get some guests invited. By displaying, let's display some photos. Earth goes mainstream. Here we go. So there you have the 80% potentially compromised link being shared. Wonderful. There you go, all. We'll share it with a few individuals as well on a few other platforms that aren't Skype. My camera across so that it's in the Hangout page. Yay, there's me in the Hangout page. Happy days. Right, all that's left to do is to wait for a few guests to join. So I'll share this in Google Plus as well for a few people who don't have Skype. On my iPad, let's do that first. If you've just tuned in or you're scrolling through in the aftermath trying to find where the show begins, there is a link in the description box below this stream. Once that show finishes, so that will get a proper introduction and so on, but once it finishes, this stream will continue, so you can tune in for what is effectively an after show. Send it. You. Anybody knows Carl McDonald, who I have been chatting with on and off. I'm sending him the link via email. I have let him know, but he hasn't replied to say, yes, I understand you're sending me the link. But now Join link. There we go. Kyle, you've had it as well. I think that's about it. Everybody, what I need to send it to. Reasonable chance that even though this is a limited audience stream, because they know it's live, they might all want to get totally prepped and on their best behaviour before we actually start the live show. Hopefully not. Hopefully they'll just join and feel au naturel, so to speak. Gary, organiser of the 2018 Flat Earth Conference in Birmingham, England. Hopefully he'll pop by at some stage. Plug conference. Inviting I'm going to invite Robbie Davidson. Same reason. Hopefully Robbie will plug the upcoming event in October. Hey Martin. Hello Stephen.
Okay.
Just I'm just going to pop you up on the OBS stream. Bear with me just 1 second.
Okay.
Oh, I'm glad I did
What's that, Martin? What's that mean?
Then I would have definitely displayed the whole key. So I couldn't get into the stream. I don't know if you were watching. Every time I tried to refresh the stream, it only showed me the one that was running. Really frustrating. So I ended up starting
the
at like
OBS
5
up
shows.
here. The other one I thought was there. That's weird.
Hello.
Hey, OBS. Hey, Steve.
I'll delete the other ones in a minute. Oh, what's that? Wrong button.
Weird.
Yeah. I will broadcast you guys in a minute. Oh, hi IPS. How's it going? Level you up and stuff as well. Transition. There we go.
We've got 3 up.
Thinking always as well. Great. Levels.
What's up, everybody?
How
How's
you
it
doing?
going?
Has everybody? Have any of you met Joseph before?
I don't think so.
Joseph,
Oh.
Stephen, Joseph.
No, I
Nope,
haven't.
what's
What's up, guys? Good to talk to all of you. What's up, IPS? Nathan, what's good, guys?
It's all
All's
good.
good.
It's good to meet you guys.
Good to meet you, brother. I'm still shaking. I had to get a post out quick. I just had a wicked discovery. A crisis actor. I busted one. I caught one. She was in Bataclan and she was in Parsons Green, and I got it on video. So I just put it on my channel, but I wanted to get it out there quick because all people who report on false flags are disappearing. Russian vids. Schiller's list has gone missing. He's not there today. His channel's dead. So that's Russian vids, PK Truth, Schiller's list. Hello World. She went for a bit. So all of these people who report on false flags get closed down. That should tell people what they want to. There's questions there, isn't there? So I thought I'd give it a go. Risk to my channel, really, putting that out there. It's good evidence, Nathan. You should see it. Wow. Same woman, both.
I'm fiddling, Martin. I'm really not paying attention to you. I'm sorry.
I know it. And I know it.
Hey, Nathan.
You do your fiddling, brother. You do fiddling very, very well.
This is normally before being broadcast for
Sorry.
me too, though. So normally people don't see me fiddling around with stuff and lining up, cameras.
Go on, brother.
We will start in about 5 minutes, regardless of who's here, though.
Whatever.
Okay, is
Still
my
good.
sound coming through okay?
It is, and I'm glad you've
see?
started talking because I can level you up. Can you say something else?
Sure. F. Anthony Riley.
You're absolutely perfect. Oh, I'm a little bit quiet actually, by the looks. Might turn me up a bit.
Sounds warm. It's nice.
Too much. Check. 1, 2. Oh, can't see my level anymore. Check. 1, 2. That'll do. I don't mind being the quietest. I prefer it actually. What about who didn't we level up? Stephen, can you say something, Stephen?
Hey, what's up?
Once more?
I don't know what I should be saying. I'm not gonna say
That's good
anybody,
enough for
but,
me. Yeah, you're a bit quiet.
What's up, IPS? What's up, Martin?
All's good, brother.
Yeah.
You know, I guess.
Is that a penguin with a rocket on its back?
No, Reset's on number 4 already. Fuck me. He's got more episodes than the fucking Simpsons, this guy.
How many videos has Reset done? How many has he actually done now on IPS?
Dead.
It's got to be a lot.
You got a biggest fan.
Are you talking about my #1 fan?
Yeah, man.
I tuned in because I didn't know who it
I
was, but
just banned his 4th account, and so he's on his 5th iteration of being my biggest my nemesis on YouTube. And every time I delete his stuff, every time I get him banned, he has to start all over again. I mean, I feel kind of bad for him sometimes.
so he's on
puts a lot of
Flat
work
Earth
into
Reset
it.
5.
He's on number 5 now. Yeah.
And only the other day he was telling me about how amazingly popular and wonderful his videos were and how much more views he was getting than everybody, including me.
Well, the thing is, the guy has never said anything about flat Earth after 100 videos. He said numerous times, these shills are trying to make you flat earthers look dumb. He says, you flat earthers. He says he's an atheist, but then he rails against fake Christians. The guy is obviously, if not semi-retarded, a paid agent. But either way, he's a useless pest.
Nigel, Clarky, if you're going to be just dishing my ass all the way through this show, you're in the same country as me, Clark. What are you fucking talking to me like that for, dude? Constantly.
Hey, leave it. We can do it on this bit, but when we start the show, no arguing
I know,
with the
that's why I'm
chat.
doing it now.
Funny for this bit.
Nathan, shoot a fat about what?
I'm not watching the
man.
chat. I shouldn't I?
What did I miss? What did I walk into?
Nothing.
We were
Nothing.
talking about how you're saying you want everyone dead.
Yeah. And there's going to be no one left.
Oh,
Except
death
us.
to everyone?
Yeah.
No,
Oh,
not us lot.
No, no, no. This lot withstanding.
Just so you know, Mark, this is actually being broadcast, so albeit to a limited audience, people can hear you. I know we haven't started, but we have. This is going out on OBS, sort of like behind the scenes. Also, when we finish, so when I say, thank you for being here, blah, 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 and then press stop and it stops saying live, it's still being broadcast. So don't just immediately say, you know, whatever you might not say ordinarily. Although you're typically...
I'm not even here.
Well, I was going to say you're exactly the same off air as on air. You're exactly the same. There's no real difference. You don't tend to say anything different.
All right. Yeah. You know me. I literally treat everything like it's recorded anything. Anyway, I learned that mostly because of Lee Bracker, and now the ghost of Lee Bracker.
Indeed, but your head was supposed to be on his lawn, Mac. According to
Lee Bracker's lawn?
Bracker one night when he was being decidedly trolley, but he was really civil to me, funnily enough, and I got on all right with him. But he was horrible to everyone else. This was on Jeff Show 2 years back. But yeah, that Robert Bassano rant, he said.
Oh, yeah. When he got together with Bassano, I was like, holy smokes.
This is not... And he did. What's the chances?
Yeah. Again, Karma Cafe. There are no menus. You get what you deserve.
No escape from karma. I keep saying this. I made a post saying this only yesterday, Mac, that there's no escape from karma.
There isn't.
A bitch.
Absolutely isn't.
Catch you up next time round. You think you're going to escape, eh? That's the truth. Karmic cycle. It's just I believe in reincarnation, Mark. I believe the karmic cycle carries on. I think we're not really recognizing people by their outward appearances. I think it's more of an energetic frequency, something we give off, soul thing that other people recognize. We don't recognize really in our conscious. I think we recognize it deeper down. I think that's what's happened with the flat earthers, because there's a definite recognition, not like that psychic, but I do have a recognition with the flat earthers. And I think it's an energetic connection. I think it's karmic. I think it's from previous times, and we just come back. People won't recognize the faces. I don't care.
But you recognize the energy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that.
Yep.
And that's a definite.
I agree.
And all
I
of
agree.
us.
So who are we waiting for, by the way?
We're not really. I mean, we can start any time. I mean, I might do an introduction. I'm just so frustrated. 15% of my frames are dropping on OBS. Not that anybody who's watching this will give the slightest care for that, but annoying. I've spent so much time testing. I don't know. Anyway, that's not a big issue. We'll start. We are waiting for... Oh, before we do start, I've sent D Marble the link and tried to get in touch with him via his YouTube site and email.
Dave tonight, Dave. So, because Dave's in California. Dave Murphy. So I think he was hooking up with him tonight.
Oh, wow.
Oh, really?
I'll try. Yeah.
Oh, well, Dave Murphy was in the Flat Earth Goes mainstream chat, so hopefully... I don't know. I've sent D Marble a link on Skype, whether or not we get him or not. I don't. Other than speaking to him in chat rooms, I don't know the guy. And literally in the last week, I've just tried to get hold of him on Skype and email and via his YouTube site, but I've not been successful. So I've asked a couple of other people. If any of you on the panel know D Marble, send him out the link to join. Hopefully he'll drop by. But like I say, Dave Murphy was certainly in the Flat Earth Goes mainstream Skype chat. So with a bit of luck, we'll get Dave Murphy. Patricia, she's been sent the link. She's in that chat, but she's obviously late. And authentic intent.
What was that? That doesn't. My headphones must be. Patricia's never late.
No,
I don't
sorry.
know.
Correction.
No.
We are running in some different timeline, and Patricia is absolutely on time.
Yep.
And then
Yep,
there's also authentic intent is also, he's been sent the link. Hopefully he can talk about billboards when he gets here, if he gets here. And there's a couple of others as well who I've invited.
Okay.
Russian Vids being one of them. I've invited him a few times. He's never joined, but we shall see.
Oh, I wish.
Right. If you guys can pop yourselves on mic, I'll start the show proper. I'll introduce you. Who have we actually got? We've got Stephen Chess, we've got Martin, we've got Mark Sargent, we've got IPS, and we've got... What do you prefer? Critical thinking always or Joseph?
Jimmy. Just Jimmy.
Jimmy?
Jimmy, yeah.
Jimmy?
Yep, Jimmy.
Okay. It's Joseph, right?
No, it's Jimmy.
Why does it say Joseph on your About page?
It shouldn't. On Skype.
Yeah, on your...
On Skype.
Right, sorry, there's going to be a delay to starting. Just while we clear up why I've got your name wrong.
It's all good. And hey, Mark, I wanted to say thank you, man, for always helping with the you and IPS helped me. We're the only two that are helped me with the first meetups, and you've always been helping me. And I just wanted to say thank you for that.
You are very welcome anytime, man.
I never got a chance to thank you for it, so thank you.
Oh no, it's cool. I actually enjoy making those things.
Yeah, it's a big help, and I don't think people realize how big of a help it is. Like, everybody checks your page to see what's going on, so thank you. Cheers.
In fact, there's an interesting story. Maybe I'll wait till we get on air about a hangout, a weird synchronicity thing that happened just this morning. So
that's interesting.
I will tell you, it's a hangout. It doesn't have to do with yours, but it has to do with the one that's coming up in Oregon.
Oh, interesting. Very cool. So yeah, thank you both again, and thank you IPS too. You guys were both, when I emailed you both jumped right up and helped. So awesome. Cheers.
Right, I'm going nuts. What it is, must be me, just going bonkers. It's been one of those days. So Jimmy, right, glad I clarified that before we started. Cool. Right, everyone ready? Lots of thumbs up, jolly good. Good evening and welcome to Flat Earth United. This evening on our panel of excellence, we have, first of all, Mark Sargent. How you doing, Mark?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm pretty well. No complaints so far. Also, we have Infinite Plane Society. How you doing, IPS?
I'm hanging on. Thank you for inviting me.
Excellent. And we've also got Critical Thinking Always. How you doing?
How's it going, everybody? Thanks for having me.
So just to clarify, what is your name again?
It's Jimmy. It's Jimmy.
Not
Jimmy
Joseph,
Shields.
Jimmy. Good. Just good
Okay.
job. We've got some clarity on that. Okay. Good to
Thanks
have you
for
here,
having me
Jimmy. We've also got Flat Earth British. How you doing?
Totally epic, Nathan. Cooking on gas and I'm on a roll. So what can I say?
Excellent. And last but not least, we have Stephen Chess. How you doing, Stephen?
Doing good, Nathan. How about you?
I am fantastic now that we're all up and running and live streaming to our wonderful audience. So if you're new to this channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button. And if you're watching this on the re-upload, make sure to leave a comment below and a like. In case you hadn't gathered already, this show will be about flat Earth in the mainstream. So about 12 months ago, I can remember people, detractors, naysayers, as IPS would say, telling everybody that we should have more mainstream coverage, that the movement is dying, that nobody's hearing about Flat Earth, that it'll all be gone soon because we haven't got any mainstream coverage. And what do you know, 12 months along, we've got lots of mainstream coverage. So plenty of column inches, we've got billboards, we've got people making it onto the news. Now I have sent out the invite to some of those people, so ODD Reality being one of them. Hopefully with a little bit of luck he'll pop by and tell us about his fantastic experiences. But in the meantime, we've got lots of people to talk about their Flat Earth experiences, Mark Sargent being one of them. So Mark, you're probably the best person to start with, because not only will you know every single column inch that there is out there, but also you've had your own successes as well. So maybe you can kick us off by telling us a bit about your successes with mainstream media.
And we just talking about over the last year?
Yeah, definitely.
Holy smokes. Ever since, as you know, the detractors have been telling us, I mean, honestly, since the end of 2015, it's like Flat Earth's dead, case closed, RIP, blah, blah, blah. We've heard this all along, and then sometime so many weird things that happened this year, but the big thing for me personally was the Denver Post, who called me up, and I thought it was going to be a throwaway article that was either going to be just buried in one of the deeper sections or wasn't going to be run at all. They decided to run it on the front page, and they were talking about the Flat Earth community, not only in Colorado, but that was the reason they found me, was because they thought I still lived in Colorado, and I wasn't. But once they ran that, things really started picking up. I mean, literally, we were getting calls from, let's see, NBC, Vice Media. I've got all the emails, HBO, CNN. Several of them have not run the stories yet. Several of them are still finishing it. But at the same time, there were documentary teams out there that have been following us around since. ODD got picked, did a story at NBC. Hopefully he'll get that pretty soon. But it started getting crazy. I mean, I did a CNN interview from a parking lot at Walmart for 45 minutes, and they're still sitting on the story. Patricia, who just came on, they picked up the story down in Houston from the Houston Chronicle, and they came out and interviewed her. They're still sitting in the story, probably because of the hurricane. But yeah, it's been ramping up. We can talk about it more and more, but even as of 48 hours ago, we had a new American NFL star come out for Flat Earth, and Kyrie Irving, the golden boy of Flat Earth right now, he decided when he was traded to Boston from Cleveland, that now some of his new teammates, they're on board with Flat Earth. And then as of yesterday, and again, we can talk about this more, and I don't want to take up too much time. As of yesterday, B.O.B., rapper, Grammy-nominated rapper, he decides to come out and do a GoFundMe to try to prove the Flat Earth as of yesterday. So no, this thing's not going away anytime soon. We could go on and on about all the different media things, and I'm sure we will, that have come out recently, but there are millions of people in the Flat Earth. The community that you're looking at here, the people on the panel and the people that are making YouTube videos, are a small fraction of what is really out there. And if you have any doubt of that, go in and look up and sort Flat Earth videos by view count and look at the amount of hits that are coming on. I mean, heck, we've given Vsauce, a big YouTube channel, we've given him millions and millions of hits, even though he does not deserve them because he's against Flat Earth. So it's been a great year for me so far. I was taken with a documentary team down to the blackout zone of the Great American Eclipse in Salem, Oregon. We spent a couple of days down there, and it was gorgeous and wonderful. And then the same documentary team followed Patricia and I when we visited NASA just recently down in Houston, Texas. And it was great. Everything's gone off without a hitch. And sorry, I don't want to get ahead of myself too much, but the same documentary team is going to be sending everyone they got down to the Raleigh, North Carolina event, the big conference coming up on November 9th. And Vice Media is also going to be covering it. And some other documentary teams, which I don't even have the details on, are going to be down there. So, and these are just the ones that we know about. I can't wait to see if the national media finally covers us in the way we should be covered, which is with respect and awe. How's that? It's my right.
It seems like they always spin it in the other direction, though, don't they?
Well, they do, and they don't. It really depends. Like, I thought the Denver Post article was quite fair, and some of the others, even the local paper here up in Seattle, which covered me, they were okay. Here's my take on it. Whereas, yeah, they're not going to completely endorse it. In fact, I'd be stunned if any of them actually did. In fact, Nathan, the Star newspaper out there in the UK just ran that thing on Karen. Sorry, what?
The Sun.
Was it the Sun or the Star?
I thought it was the Sun that we were going to talk about the bit on D-Marble.
No, not the bit on D-Marble. The bit on Karen.
One. Sorry, you go ahead. I'm correcting you unnecessarily because obviously
no, you're right. The Sun article, yeah, covered D-Marble, which was quite a ways after the fact, after he did that spirit level test on the plane. But then Karen from the Sun and Moon Group, she got picked up. I'll give you a quick little story about that, where the Star had called me and they had said, and they were baiting me. They said, yeah, we heard that you're going to try to turn flat Earth into a new religion. And I go, oh, no, we're not going down that road, nor would I ever say in any way, shape, or form that it was turning into a religion. And I was thinking of being a smartass the entire time, but I decided to just keep it cool during that phone call. But I said, after he realized I wasn't going to just run with it. And I could have made up a great story on it. It would have been fantastic. But instead of that, he said, is there anybody in the UK that we could talk to? And I mentioned both you and Karen from the Sun and the Moon Group, and Gary, the people that are putting on the conference. And I said, these are the guys you want to talk to if you want somebody local. And so that was just picked up recently. And I know Karen hates the pictures that were used because they were staging her to make her seem as crazy as possible. But the article didn't absolutely condemn her, and I'm sorry, this is my point to you, Stephen, is that they're not, either out of laziness or the way it's meant to be, they're not bringing science against us in those articles.
That's the whole point, though. They don't think that they need to, because of the way that it's structured in people's minds. You know what I mean? People already sort of have the thought that it's going to be a given that it's a globe. So to bring it up in a mainstream article would be to give us,
I'll take no response from science rather than them just beating the same old drum. I will, because a lot of people will believe that same old drum. It's kind of like the weak-minded will look for any reassurance that there is out there. And so even a science like, well, it's obvious because of ships going over the horizon, and then 8 out of 10 people at home going, oh, thank God he said it. I was getting freaked out there. So up until now, though, I think it's been pretty good. And well, we'll talk about the other mainstream stuff later, but I was
going to say
that's what's
got some groundbreaking revelations that Jimmy can hopefully talk about now, which is, well, I'm not going to steal your thunder. Maybe you can tell the audience what you did first and foremost.
Go ahead.
Oh, are you talking about NASA?
Yeah, I thought that was a pretty big deal what you did, but first of all,
yeah. So when we contacted the local Denver TV station, Denver 9 KUSA, it was kind of an interesting setup, but I basically just said, they actually put it in there too. NASA, you're lying to us. We know you're lying to us. We know what CGI looks like. We're not dumb. And basically called them out. And I was just, waiting for somebody to do that. I hadn't really heard it like that before. So, it was exciting, and I'm glad I got it through, So a lot of people saw it. But I don't think people realize it.
Who did it go out to?
I'm sorry?
Who did it go out to?
What do you mean?
As in, who got the actual television broadcast?
It was just a local Denver KUSA. They did it live on Facebook first, and it was part of a series called Let's Be Clear. They did like a half an hour interview, and then we waited about 5 weeks after the eclipse. They aired it, and they put in some, they didn't put in a lot, but what they did put in was that one, a couple good parts. ODD got a couple really good parts in there. So overall, it worked out. But interestingly enough, on Facebook, when we streamed it live, the first 15 minutes got cut off. And I just find it interesting that when any of us are live streaming, if the audio isn't correct, we can correct it within a minute. Yet this a local professional TV station, can't get their act together for 15 minutes. So a big part of that interview was cut out. A lot of it was edited out. So I'm trying to get the full interview still, but I think it worked out overall. And I was glad to call out NASA because we all know that we're being shown cartoons. And I think it needs to be shown that it's not as hard to do these interviews as one might think. All it really takes is the legwork and a little bit of emails and some time. So I think we could get many, many more people out there doing the same thing, doing local interviews and more mainstream interviews. It just depends on who wants to put in the time and the legwork, I guess.
Yeah, and you did a great job, and so did ODD. And I'd like to mention that the channel you were on was an NBC affiliate, and that's not small potatoes. There's lots of people that would like to be on something like that, and it does nothing but help the metrics. So good for you, and again, it's just another stepping stone for us.
Thank you.
Right,
hey, wait! Before I I want to tell him a quick story because of the meetups we've been doing recently. I don't want to forget this, and that was I did a quick Q&A email show this morning, and when I was reading it, I was reading some of my back emails, and one of the emails I think was back from August 2nd, and it was a lady who was sad because she couldn't go to the last Portland meetup that was there with Dean Marble, and she said that because she goes, "Oh, I'm sad because I live here in Grants Pass." Grants Pass. And I immediately noted that in the email because I literally, talk about small world or synchronicity, literally got a request from a group out there in Grants Pass, Oregon, not a big place. And they said, "Hey, can you do a promo for us?" So I literally just not even 24 hours earlier had made a promo for them. So I shot her an email and I said, "Look, there's literally a meetup in your town tomorrow night. Go," which is literally, tomorrow, 24 hours from now. She goes, "I will absolutely be there." But again, I didn't have to read her email, and I wasn't even really planning on doing an email show. And had I waited any longer, I would have missed it. So I call that it was meant to be. Just want to throw that out there.
That's amazing, and it's pretty crazy. I even saw yesterday. There's 3 simultaneous meetups. They're happening. They're increasing. Which is interesting. They're increasing. I think people are kind of coming out of their shell and working their way and kind of being a little more comfortable with coming out now that they see other people are comfortable coming out. So cheers to everybody, doing it. And thank you for helping, and thank IPS helped me initially too. So thank you all. So cheers for that.
Very welcome. Anyway, I'm done with my little rant.
Right, you're going to tell us about your cameraman that was in your room. Maybe give the audience a bit of enlightenment in terms of what that was. I know, Mark, obviously you've told us a little bit about that already.
Myself or IPS? I'm sorry.
No, you,
hi,
Patricia.
sorry,
I just want you to explain why you had a cameraman in your house.
Yes, well, his name is Daniel Clark, and he independently contacted Mark and then myself and decided that, he'd already pre-decided with the group that they wanted to do a documentary about flat earthers. And of course I said yes, Mark said yes, and that's why he ended up at my place. He's been here twice now. So for a couple of days in a row each time, separated by a couple of months. They want to do this documentary because they know there's something to this. Now, do the people that are backing the documentary, the guy who's doing the filming, director, etc., do they believe in flat Earth? Well, so far, Mark and I and others have definitely helped them not laugh at it anymore. They're probably thinking about it, but they don't disbelieve in it. They're not doing a hit piece on it. I can tell by the whole nature of this thing. It's not any way of making us look foolish or ridiculous. Let's face it, anything in mainstream, there will be people commenting on it who will try to make us look foolish and ridiculous. But that documentary, which we don't even know the title of yet, is just to present what flat earthers are like as people. And I think that's very important. My whole channel is really dedicated to the people of flat earth. It's not about the science. It's about allowing others who have the science or the biblical perspective or other perspectives to come and tell everyone about who they are and how they came to these conclusions. And this documentary is kind of, in a way, it has nothing to do with my show, except I'm one of the people being profiled on it. It's kind of the same thing. It's like the people of flat earth. So anyway, that's it. And it's really exciting and I can't wait to see it. And I can't wait for them to get more people on board. And definitely at the conference coming up in November, they're going to be filming a lot of people there, unless somebody there decides to, do the paparazzi. No cameras, please.
I say that's a nice segue into Robbie Davidson, but I do know IPS is trying to get some words in, so we will get to you, Robbie, as soon as we've just heard from IPS, who's been itching to get some words in. What were you trying to say? Sorry.
Oh, yes, about critical thinking always, about Jimmy's confrontation with KUSA 9, Denver News.
We can't hear you. I think your mic's come unclipped or something. It's gone all muffled.
Okay, give me a minute.
No worries. Well, good timing while IPS sorts his mic out. So, how you doing, Robbie? You're on mute at the moment.
There we go. Sorry about that.
Good to have you here.
Good to be here as well. It's been quite some time, and this is a great show to talk about flat Earth in the mainstream. And yeah, the amount of media and press requests that we're getting is unbelievable, and it's going to be amazing to see so many different countries represented. We've got the Sydney Herald flying in from Australia. We've got German press. We've got India. We've got quite a few different countries. We have 2 documentaries going to be shot. I think Patricia and Mark were mentioning with the documentary crew that's following around and it's been with them. They're going to be there shooting, and another one as well. And yeah, we're really excited. Like I said, this is not going anywhere as far as dying or slowing down. I mean, it's just absolutely amping up, and it's exciting to be a part of it. And it's awesome to be here with all of you on the panel.
I mean, you've mentioned about Australia and a few other countries. I mean, have you got any big American names that you can drop in there that you know that are coming?
Oh, as far as like media, like, I mean, Mark had mentioned as well, like Vice, BuzzFeed, quite a few like social media type news agencies. As far as anything big, as far as like CNN or ABC, there hasn't been anything that's come up of yet. But again, we're holding spots available if there is a big network, news that does want to cover it. And personally, I'm fine with the fact of even whatever angle or whatever bias they're coming with, because I think there's going to be such incredible presenters, such as Mark and Jaron and Bob Nodell, and just a list that if they're there for the weekend, there's going to be something that catches their eye. There's going to be something there that catches their ear. And I mean, you cannot dismiss this as just, a bunch of crazy people. You can't dismiss this as just everyone has IQs lower than their shoe size. This is something that I think the media and the press, and as far as my discussions are, they're starting, like, Patricia was mentioning that the documentary crew at the beginning, they might have gone into it one way, but now they're like, well, I can't just dismiss it this way. And that's what I'm getting from talking to the press. Now, I know that they're not the, executive editors, they're not the senior editors, of these articles, but the journalists, the reporters, they're genuinely curious because, again, 2017 has been incredible. The explosion, sports stars. And, at the beginning, it's fringe. At the beginning, it's kind of crazy. It's like, what? It's 2017. There's people that believe that the earth is flat. But after a while, you can't deny it to the fact that you're wondering, wait a minute, something else must be going on here. So I think a lot of people are coming to the conference. A lot of people have been in contact with me because they're generally, interested in going, wait a minute, there has to be something going on. I mean, when you have all these people all over the world, all different beliefs, all different backgrounds, You can't just say, oh, it's just religious. You can't just say, oh, it's scientific. You can't just say it's conspiratorial. You know, you've got all three of these things coming together, and you've got all these different backgrounds and beliefs and age groups. You know, it's exciting because, like I said, I don't think the world's ever seen something bring so many people together under one common, you know, cause in questioning the world and getting the answers that we're all asking.
I mean, on a personal level, though, if you did have whoever, Washington Post for the sake of argument, comes along and they make a scathing article about flat Earth, and I'm going to ask Stephen to chime in, hopefully, on this note, because he's been a little bit negative about the press attention. But would it make you feel bad personally if you had a scathing review that was non-science based, ignoring all the main points and just ridiculing it based on the fact that they probably hadn't been for the sake of argument? How would you feel about that?
Well, I mean, the event itself isn't for their purpose. I mean, I think that's a nice benefit, is that they're there, that they're able to see the presentations. But the conference is so much more. I explained to people that the conference isn't just about those 2 days. It's about what happens afterwards. And I think bringing the community together, I think even just with people on the panel right now, you know, coming together, meeting for the first time. I mean, for example, Globebusters, you know, all three of them, especially Jaron and Bob, they've been doing a show and just an incredible job, you know, for 2 years. They haven't even met yet in person. So I think that's going to be really exciting. The fact that they're going to be able to meet a lot of these people are going to come together, the community, the friendships, and just what it does going forward. I think there's going to be a huge shift after the conference going forward of all the friendships, people networking, people wanting to do experiments with one another. I think there's going to be a lot of beautiful things that are going to happen. So what I say is the conference itself isn't for the media. They're invited. And what I think is, because people are bringing their A game, they're bringing good presentations. And I think, you know, for us, when we're looking at it, we're going to say, that's a great job. For example, when ODD puts out a video, who sits there, looks at it, and goes, yeah, that was horrible, man. He could have done so much better. No, they're like, that's really well, you know, put together piece, or a put together, you know, video. So I'm not worried at all. What I guess I would be concerned with is if the media did a scathing report on me as an event organizer. I mean, maybe that would be upsetting, because I mean, I would learn to improve and do better, you know, for 2018. But I'm not concerned at all about flat Earth content. I laughed at this, right? So if they say, what a bunch of ridiculous morons, they believe that NASA's lying to us, and that the ISS isn't real, and that, you know, they didn't go to the moon. I'm not going to be worried about that, because I know we don't believe they went to the moon. And if the whole world wants to laugh at us, the fact is, if they're going to take the time, look at the evidence that's put forward, they're going to see. And what I say all the time to people is, if 100 people laugh at us and one person says, wait a minute, I want to look into this, we're talking millions of people. We're talking a lot of people that are going to basically, you know, tune into this. So it's all about numbers. It's all about one person at a time. We're talking to a person, 10 people laugh at us, but one person says, wait a minute, they ask more questions. So when I look at the media attention, even if there's a negative review, someone reads it, there's that one person that says, huh, that's an interesting point they brought up, though, and they go check. Look at the explosion that's happened with a lot of them trying to actually downplay flat Earth or make us look ridiculous. We've seen it only increase. So they can come out. They're going to take a different tactic. My point is, they're going to start looking at it a little different and go, wait a minute, what's going on here? Because when all of a sudden they're sitting there mingling with, like, you know, Mark and Patricia and like Bob and Jaron and the community as a whole, they're going to say, well, wait a minute, they're all different. They all have different beliefs. They have different backgrounds. They're not all in one group. So I think the media really wants to put us all into one group. They want to say they're all religious. Well, we're not all religious, right? So, they want to put us into the fact that, oh, we're all dumb. Well, no, you can't deny that some people are very articulate and very intelligent when they talk about, I mean, heck, most people in flat Earth now know more about the heliocentric globe model than even Globers do. I would imagine that if the media approached anyone in flat Earth right now, just off the get-go, they would probably be embarrassed, because they wouldn't know the questions that a flat earther could ask them about the world. I don't think most reporters would even know, you know, when it comes to the radius or circumference or the speed. And that's what is nice, is that we can come off not as, you know, unintelligent. We can come off intelligent in the fact that we have studied the model. We're curious, we're asking questions, we are very skeptical. And as long as people can't give us the answers, well, we're going to demand more. And the media is just going to see more and more of these things spring up, whether it's meetups, whether it's conferences, whether it's millions of videos that are circulating right now on YouTube. This can't be stopped. This is continuing on. It's going to be epic in November. I'm excited. I'm excited to be in the UK with Gary's event. in the next year. And like I said, they're going to be popping up all over the place. We're only getting started with this, and it's exciting to be a part of the ride.
What have
Yeah,
you got to say,
definitely. Like you
Stephen?
said, the media likes to try and group us into individual groups. You know, like with the like what Eric Dubay does with the whole Nazi thing, and you know, any group that you can think of. But the point that I would make now is that the mainstream media is kind of unnecessary to what we're doing. If you look at one channel like ODD, you know, he's approaching 100,000 subscribers after his channel was taken down at one point. So it's kind of, the mainstream media is kind of an ancient thing. You know, I don't think any of us here have televisions or anything like that. You know what I mean? So for people like us, we're already kind of on our way there, or, you know, looking into alternative things, not watching the mainstream media. So, but I guess it kind of, to me, it just like, does it hurt us or does it help us? You know, people being exposed to the mainstream media's narrative of flat Earth. You know, people who weren't aware of flat Earth before.
Agreed. Can I chime in for 1 sec here? And that is, you got a good point, Stephen. At the same time, what we've done is we've created such a huge foundation of content that even if 100 different mainstream media outlets decide to trash us, which they won't. Yeah, a lot of them will. You know, the sports industry, you know, came after Kyrie and Shaquille O'Neal pretty heavy. But at the same time, I wouldn't trade in just the general exposure for anything, because when Shaquille O'Neal said, "Oh yeah, I'm totally on board with flat Earth," and everybody said Shaquille O'Neal's on board with flat Earth, that meant that they were at least going to go in and type in flat Earth, and then they see the content. So
right, but then when I talk to people like my cashier about flat Earth, he's like, "Oh yeah, like Shaq."
Yeah. At the same time, those people, there's some people that aren't going to get around the denial. We know that. The others, though, like Robbie was saying, even if one person, and it's more than just one person, there's a lot of people out there that know about this thing. The numbers, in fact, we just broke 19.1 this morning. That number has never fluctuated. It's always going up and up and up. And
Sorry,
I don't know
just to
what
clarify,
the magic.
Mark, that's 19.1 million videos about flat Earth on YouTube.
I wouldn't call it 19.1 videos. It's 19.1 relevant hits on YouTube, but it's still a huge number. Again, if you type in the comparison I always love to use when you sort by upload date, when you type in Lady Gaga real quick, because you know she's not small potatoes, she comes in at 16.8. And so, and we're just a notch or two below Donald Trump, and that's saying something, because we've done this with almost little to no marketing. Yeah, a few billboards here and there, and the conference really helps. But you're talking about any other topic that takes millions and millions of dollars in marketing money, and internet marketing companies that are dedicated to the cause, and we're trouncing them. We're as just a side effect of the content we're putting out. We're not even trying to do it. Which
Mark,
I love.
Mark, real quick, can you do that search with flat Earth in quotations? Like when you do your Google search, can you put them in quotations? Because that will actually search anything with flat and anything with Earth. So I'm just curious what comes up if you actually put it in quotations.
Hang on.
Because if you do a search with flat Earth in quotations, it will find any reference
any
where
video.
It has flat Earth together. Yeah.
Right. A million videos with flat Earth in it right now.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah,
that would be like flat Earth together, not just Earth. Because again, when you do,
a million, and that's fairly recent. The fact that there's physically a million videos out there with flat Earth in the title, you could never get through them in your lifetime. And which is fantastic. It means that there's so much content out there that it's way different than when I was first getting into it a couple of years ago, where all of a sudden that's what I love about it. Now it's so overwhelming that when people finally hear it, so Kyrie's into flat Earth, they type it in and they're going, it's almost like you're looking at a whole new world. You're going, how have I never heard about this? And then it just, then they lose sleep for 2 weeks.
For me, it was about 22,000. Like when I started it, in 2015, it was about 22,000 when you put flat Earth in quotations to find anything with flat Earth together. So yeah, it's exponentially grown for sure.
Nice. It's fantastic. Anyway, so that's my little comment.
We're already using mainstream media. Think about it. We're using YouTube to get this out, and we're using Facebook to get this out. We're also using Twitter. I put stuff on my Instagram sometimes. So Facebook is a huge area of flat Earth truth. And yeah, you know, it all depends on who your friends are and who your friends' friends are. People may be on Facebook and never hear about flat Earth, but just today I went into the little vegan area of Facebook and made a comment on a post, and the place lit up because it all changed from the conversation that was going on about animals. You know, I care about that a lot, but it was so weird because the vegan people, who I would think would be very open-minded, turned on me and were coming up with the same kind of questions that we all get, like why would they lie, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And when I became vegan, I remember that was before flat Earth. The people who were non-vegan, who I was trying to get that message out to, had exactly maybe the same 10 things that they would come up with. And the vegans, we would laugh at it like, oh my God, it's another one of those how do you get your protein? Or, you know, the same thing as, why would NASA lie? And I was trying to get across to the vegans that, you know how it is when you talk to a meat eater and they reject everything you're trying to say. They reject the science that you give them. They reject the blogs that you send them and the other documentation in the videos. And they're, yeah. Well, you're doing that right now. And anyway, going in any world where they haven't really completely, you know, looked at anything else except their little topic, whatever that may be, umbrella collecting, and just dropping a little bit about flat Earth. It's like you've poked a beehive and they buzz around and go crazy and wild. And if you can stay the course and be calm, you might get one person or two to look into it. And that's the same effectiveness as a billboard or anything else. So just pushing ahead in all these mainstream areas and all these little niche areas, it's how this happens. How did we all find out about this? I'm betting all of us found out about this from mainstream media. Well, I would consider YouTube to be mainstream. That's how I found out about it. So I don't think mainstream's bad, and I don't think they can hurt us because they're just going to say those same old things that we know they're going to say. And we have the answers for all of those things.
Well, I'm sure a lot of people find out through mainstream media, but I found out from a woman who linked me to Mark's video. So.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's true, too. Maybe she found out, though, from YouTube. So.
I was coming up with a new analogy recently, excuse me, and about what it does, because I was trying to warn people. It's like, look, when you talk about this with somebody, you've got to remember the reactions that you're going to get. You're not going to convince them in an hour or 2 hours or even in a day. And I was trying to compare it to something, and I think that the latest analogy I came up with was probably my most accurate, which was, it's like coming up to somebody and saying, oh yeah, by the way, I'm pretty sure you're adopted. Right. And, you know, their first response is always going to be whatever. It's like, let's say they're 30 years old. It's like, no, I'm not. That's just ridiculous. I'm going, no, I think I can prove that you're adopted. And the more you push it, the more they push back until finally, you know, they have to deal with it one way or the other. It's like, look, I think I may have, here's some papers here that point on you being adopted, because what it does is it goes all the way back to your childhood. You have to reevaluate everything you've thought of, every conversation you had with your family since you were young. Same sort of thing goes to the globe. I mean, it's really the same. And that is the parallels, your life with your family, starting from age 0, and your life on a globe, starting from age 0. You've got to remember the pushback that's going to be there. Sorry, I know it's a little off topic from the mainstream thing you were going with, Nathan. I just wanted to throw that in.
No, not at all. Love it. I mean, I was going to check if IPS had got his mic working, so hopefully we can talk maybe the stats of the billboards.
Yeah, I think it's working now. Can you hear me okay?
Perfect.
Okay, so yeah, with regards to the billboards, to me, the idea here was just to have the conversation go into places where it never went before and bring more minds into it. That's what it's always been, just a way to trigger a response. And it just happens to be the case that billboards are one of the best mechanisms for reaching the most number of people. And it was David from Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole who let me know about this. We were talking about getting a Skyrider or maybe a blimp. We were trying to figure out what can we do to get the media involved in this. And he was the one who brought up billboards, and he told me about an experiment he did in a marketing class from 20 years ago where they actually measured it. And they said when compared to print and to radio and to TV ads, billboards outperform. And we figured, well, billboards work. Talk to the media, get them to do stories about it. And then even after the billboard goes down, it might as well still be up because it's still being talked about. Specifically with regards to the Research Flat Earth one, all of the billboards that mirrored that phrase were tied together in the stories covered by the Associated Press through outlets like Coast to Coast. And so even though that one billboard that went up in May or whatever was only up for 2 weeks, it's still mentioned in articles. So it still brings the narrative forward, which is there's a lot of people out there willing to put their money where their mouths are. And that's the message, I think, with the billboards is, hey, look, we're here and we're willing to put our money into this thing and our time and energy, obviously.
Well, it made, I'm sure I saw YouTube clips of it making it onto TV news where they had people in front of it obviously ridiculing it, but by the same token saying, had you considered it? So, I mean, am I imagining that? It's been one of those days, I've got to admit.
Yeah, I think so. I think the bigger point is that when it comes to memes or ideas, they don't ask your permission to get into your head. And so if you're confronted with the topic, research flat earth, now that idea has a new context in which to take a residence in your head until later you confront it again. So this is a nice way of being the first contact is them realizing, okay, it's still there, it exists. And so it's not so much about converting anybody at the first contact. It's more about raising their level of awareness and starting a dialogue, which will be ongoing. And for us, it's been a couple of years. It's still ongoing, but it's just a way of saying, pay attention to this meme. And like I said, memes don't ask your permission. If you're exposed to it, it's pretty much there. There's nothing you can do about it.
Stone silence for dramatic effect. Martin, you've not said very much. You went on the radio, didn't you?
Yeah, but I'm not too contemporary, am I, Nathan? So I'm a bit of a minefield, and they realise this. So, yeah, but I'd all sorts contact me. In the beginning, I'd Channel 4 get onto me. The producer, and I thought, no, this is somebody in the flat Earth community winding me up. So I gave the Channel 4 studio a ring and asked, could I speak to the executive producer, please? Is her name so and so? Yes, it's hers. All right, it's not a wind up. Oh crap. So apparently they were going to come back, but they disappeared. But I'm not surprised with me. Not exactly aesthetically pleasing. I realise what I am to the outside perspective. But like Robbie said earlier, okay, even when we planted the seeds, right, especially with my seed, I get people to sit and think, well, this guy, he's looking a bit kooky, but actually something he said really struck a chord with me. And with the ripple effect, look, you know, Mark wakes me up, and then I wake somebody else up, which I have, and they wake somebody else up, which has happened. So this is ripple effect, and the way consciousness works, in my opinion, this is a definite. It's going to get out there. To me, the mainstream is the lesser two evils. It really is. You know, we only need to use that tool. They use it against us. So we use it the best we can to our ability. People can discern, they can read between the lines. I'm sure, you know, rational people can. Hang on.
Well, I was going to say,
not really
maybe triggered memories for IPS, because I remember maybe 6 months ago him saying about seizing mics and using the tool that is the mainstream media. And I think Stephen said it, that none of us have probably got TVs. So you're kind of sort of talking in the dark because we want to use a tool that we don't actually watch, which is interesting. But by the same token, we realise the potential and the power of that tool, which is to say that it's linked into the mass connected sheeple. But there we go. You know, it's one of those. It's a double-edged sword, especially when they have control of the edits and want to ridicule us, which is unfortunate, really, because well, no one wants to be ridiculed. I know, going on from your point earlier, Robbie.
I was called on that Boston radio show. It was a WEMF radio. It was a comedy show. I was there to be ridiculed. I got ripped to pieces by 5 what's called dark comedy. Apparently, it's a genre of comedy without humour. So they were just really bad to me. But I come off okay. I survived just about. But it, you know, leading me down avenues I didn't really want to go down. But the last interview, I blasted them for 2 hours, red pilled them, and never give them a chance. I thought, I'm not wasting this opportunity. I will spill everything that I know in the best way I can. You know, orating. I've done okay, but you know, with me, it's difficult with them. I know what they think. I'm not stupid, but I think it's a definite necessity. And you know, when this goes the way we think or know, because of our intent is already set, and it will go that way, they're all going to be, you know, in the conferences. Really, after that, Robbie, like you said, that's going to be it. That attention on that, people wondering, you know, conferences and conventions, and really, That is the key. And that's just the beginning to me. All the last 3 years are just a precursor to me. I think that then that will be the beginning. I think then there's the exciting growth. I can just see it in my mind's eye. It's a definite. That's the way that's the way Flat Earth British interprets it anyway. Okay.
Let's just go on from a point that Robbie made, which is that I think all of us are probably in the same. Well, I'm going to assume that we're all in the same vein, which is that your hard work and your graft, like in this case, this video would be an example of that, but in your case, far more grandiose with your conference. But that's your hard work, and that's the thing that you really don't want to have ridiculed, even if they're ridiculing the notions that, to all of us on this panel at least, it's obvious. You know, the world is obviously flat, and you know you can take the mickey out of that all you like.
I already know that it's going to be a success, Nathan, just because people that are coming are just happy to be there with over 500 flat earthers themselves. For so long, they've been ridiculed, they've been beat down, they've been ostracized, they've been fired, they've been, divided with their family. This is going to be a time of healing. This is going to be a time of community. So already it's a success. Even before it happens, it's a success. If people get together in a room, anything is over and beyond. Anything that I do that add the professionality to it, that the media, the world looks at and goes, whoa, like these guys are getting to a point of real seriousness. These guys aren't just a bunch of kooks meeting in a back alley. They're not just meeting in a bar. And I'm not discounting, the meetups and stuff. I think the meetups are completely, absolutely phenomenal what's going on. Everywhere, they're all happening. This is just going to escalate. This is just going to completely amplify after the conference, because for one, a lot of people are sitting back that I know personally. They're like, you know what, this year I'm just going to sit back and I'm going to watch and I'm going to see how it goes. I'm like, that's fine. So I think even by next year, you're going to see absolutely an explosion, not just in numbers, but just in participation, in certain individuals that we might be surprised that might come around and say, you know what, I want to be part of this, because it's not about name calling. It's not about being a shill or not a shill and all that. And again, so long this has been going on because a lot of people have never met. It's been on the computer. What will happen when the conference happens in November and then continuing on into April and beyond, when it comes to these big conventions, conferences, is that people will start understanding that, wait a minute, not everyone can be a shill. Wait a minute, how is it going to be a bad thing to include someone in where all of a sudden everyone is doing their own thing? Everyone brings something to the table. No, we don't all agree. And that's the beautiful thing about this, is we're not all coming together. And that's where the media is puzzled, because they're like, well, is there one leader to this? No. Do you have like a set of beliefs? No. So that really puzzles a lot of people, because they like to lump you in. They like to find like a leader. They like to find, a commonality. And what the cool thing about this is that everyone is starting to wake up, and they have all of these differences. But the fighting, the infighting, all this stuff is going to actually calm down significantly. So yes, it will always exist. Yes, there'll be keyboard warriors out there. But what we're going to find is a transformation where a lot of people are going to be like, you know what, you can say whatever you want about those guys being shills. I'm going out, for FE, 18, you guys don't want to come. And one by one, people be like, okay, fine, I'll go. And, there's a lot of community. There's a lot of unity that needs to take place in healing, even inside the Flat Earth community. And I think that's what's going to be important going forward, that once a lot of this healing has taken place, people have said, I'm sorry, I didn't know what I was talking about. Look at ODD, for example. I mean, at one point, he was listening to certain individuals. He was going against certain individuals, but now he's like, man, everyone's cool with me. I'm fine being there. And there's a lot of people right now that are still kind of on those lines, but one by one, they're going to go, you know what? No, I was buying the lie. I was thinking this person's a CIA or a shill. And a lot of this stuff has to happen because the media is looking at that. And if you want to talk about looking crazier, that is where we're going to look the craziest, is when all of a sudden they start going into the infighting. Not so much the theory, because the theory has been around for, thousands of years, 500 years this war has been going on. But where they're going to zero in is they're going to be like, oh my goodness, they think that this person's CIA, and they're going to go, these guys are like paranoid. These guys are like cuckoo. So what I think is, that's what's important for us as, being representations of this, is we have to have a voice where we kind of show that unity and show that, hey, you can have different beliefs, but we can get along. We can look at the big picture and say there's a war going on, because I think personally the media is going to zero in on that. And I think that's what they're going to use, is they're going to use the paranoia. They're going to use the, the people, when it comes to personalities, not so much the theory, the intelligence. I think they're going to transfer it into that type of realm. So the timing is perfect with 2017, with 2015, which is amazing how this thing all blew up. But when it comes to 2017, when it comes to the conclusion of 2017 with the conference, all these people in one room, not to mention the people that are on the panel and others, but also the community at large. They're going to meet friends that are going to be friends for the rest of their life, the networking that's going to happen. So what I say is the conference isn't about the 2 days. It's about what happens afterwards. And again, providing that vehicle, having that conduit that's going to actually create the healing, the community, the reconciliation. Going forward, it's going to be absolutely phenomenal, because one by one, when we have more people just saying, yeah, man, I don't agree with this guy, I don't agree with her, I don't agree. But you know what? We're all doing our part in this, and we all can come together and have such a strong voice if we do this.
Yeah, I like some of the words you give me there, because it leads me into something that Mark said again a while about sort of warring factions on the front lines, tussling amongst each other before they go into battle. But I think, again, another thing that you said resonates with me personally is about being in the same room with each other. So Martin will attest to this. So when you're in a Flat Earth meetup, that accusation throwing toxic type person isn't there. They're here. They're on YouTube. They're in the chat right now. I'm leaving it for all to see very intentionally. And there's people bitching and moaning and mudslinging, and that's the toxic nature of YouTube. But once you go away from that, once you actually sort of fan out, yes, there's going to be the mainstream media clicking and putting their article and adding their 2 pennyworth, that's the one, of bullshit to whatever they see. But by the same token, there's going to be people who are actually mingling with real people. And, for every single person that's called me a shill, I've met people in real life, and it's a totally different ball game when you're actually up front and up close and personal. But coming back to that, so Mark, what can you expand on what you meant by the sort of warring factions on the front lines?
Yeah, even though it's not my side of the ocean, the Scottish Highlands, that is, there's a bunch of different people flying different flags, and because we haven't had an organized defense from science, look, the troops get bored and antsy, and they want to tussle, and so they'll be sparring, no question. But to Robbie's point, look, when you get those people in a room, in fact, the one, because I've done 6 meetups so far. When I did the big one in Seattle with D Marble for the first time, when Patricia was there was only 50 something people in the room, which isn't bad by any stretch, but the energy got so pumped up and it was getting so loud, it was tough to think in there. And remember, this is a flat earth group. This should be a fairly low-key group, right? And it was just buzzing with energy. You multiply that by this conference, and I'm excited to see the potential of what can happen. Because and I don't think you're going to catch any hell for the production no matter what you do, because any media is going to be there about the just the topic itself, but the people that are there, that's the most important. Most of the people that I know that are going are just excited. Same thing that happened with these smaller meetups. They're just excited to be in a room with other people on the same page, where they're not their family criticizing, and they're not their coworkers, and they're not their friends saying you're a nut job. They're just, nobody judges in that room. And in fact, you can tell, I mean, there's people, that nobody completely agrees on all the different points, but they're so excited it's this big release. You can be yourself, and you don't have to explain yourself. You don't have to preface or frame anything. You just walk into the room, you're immediately accepted. That's a powerful thing and cannot be sold short. So for me, that's why I'm going to be trying to meet as many people as possible there. I'm going a couple days early, staying late, and just meeting these people, the people that have been corresponding with me and calling and doing all these great things. I'm just pumped to be there.
At that Seattle meetup where you were just mentioning that Dave, All People, Free People, who's in the chat right now, he's the one who organized it. I know, Mark, you and we came together because I came there to visit for this event. There were, like you said, 50 people there, and you and I didn't really talk all night, maybe once for like a couple seconds. We were just busy mixing and mingling among everyone. And at the end, when we went to the parking lot, we realized we hadn't even talked to everybody. No. The buzz was so, like Martin calls it a buzz. The buzz was so, big, so high that there was such great connection and conversations going on. It almost was like the best party you ever went to, but then in the end, you regret talking to the person who threw the party. I mean, it's just you couldn't get everybody. You couldn't. And what's it going to be like at FEIC? I mean,
after a meet, after about 2 days away from flat earthers, back into the matrix, I started to get like grieving again. I was like, I'm flat earthers.
Yeah, yeah. We let, not only did the restaurant have to throw us out when Patricia was there, and you know, the cleaning crew had already come through and the chairs were up on the tables. They had to throw us out. There were still 20 people in the parking lot. And as Patricia mentioned, we get out to the parking lot and there's people in the parking lot I had not met. I'm going, it wasn't that big a room. How did I not meet you and you and you? Because time flies. And then we pulled out of there, I think a little after 11, and there were still 20 people in that lot that weren't going to leave. It was sort of like I mean, honestly, for the conference, there's going to be people who aren't going to sleep for a couple days. They're just going to be, I almost guarantee
I'm not going to sleep the night before. I won't be able to sleep the night before. I was joking around because I have a bunch of crew helping me with setup, you know, the night before, but I'm like, how in the world am I going to be able to sleep when I'm putting on this huge thing the next morning? I'll be up all nighter, coffee. But the funny thing is, you mentioned, you know, you'll be there early. There's a lot of people coming early. So I'm going to be the first one there. I think I get in on Tuesday, and I think I leave Monday. So I'm right through. I'll be the first one there and the first one to leave. So, I mean, I want to meet so many people, and the emails that are coming in, the excitement, all around, like I said, I mean, being able to provide, you know, all the different vantage points, because again, there's going to be good scientific, you know, evidence put forward. There's going to be the connecting the dots, the conspiracy kind of angles there. And there's also going to be the religious. So again, all three components, which I think are really important, because again, it represents all three major kind of ideas coming to this. You can come to it conspiratorially. You know, I mean, Flat Earth Clues was one of the huge things for so many people because it connected all the dots. Wait a minute, they're covering this up. Why are they covering this up? Why is there a treaty? You know, and then again, the scientific, you know, going out there and applying the scientific method and people wanting to do the experiments, but then also the Bible, also the religious, you know, that type of component. There's a huge amount of people that are intrigued in that. So that's what I find really brilliant about this, is it's bringing all these people together with all these different mindsets. And no, I won't be able to sleep. Like, I don't know if I'll be able to sleep for 2 days, to tell you the truth. I mean, it's just going to be like you talked about, that buzz, that party. It's going to be one huge party because there's a whack of people coming, you know, just to hang out with everyone after the conference that can't get into the conference. So, right, you know, think about another 200 people on top of those numbers. So Raleigh, North Carolina doesn't know what's about to hit them. I mean, it's going to be interesting. And not to mention the massive billboard. You were talking about billboards before with IPS, the massive one that's going up right by the conference center, you know, a month before. I mean, it goes up here in, I think, about 2-3 weeks, and it goes on right till the Monday after the conference, but it's right by the interstate, close to the conference. And the kickoff that David Weiss has planned deep inside the rabbit hole to kick off the conference the night before is absolutely fantastic. I'll let him, you know, talk about it. It's his idea, it's his baby, but we're all for it. And it's going to be a huge way to kick off, you know, Flat Earth International Conference 2017. And I mean, being able to get the media involved with this, like I said, I don't think anyone's done something this grand before. And again, all credit goes to David Weiss, especially on this idea to kick off the conference in November.
It'd be nice once you're actually in person to not have people asking you if you're a CIA shill, because it's not going to happen. You're not going to have people frisking you for your wallet to see if you've got some police identity in there or something. You know, that all gets dissolved when you meet in person.
Coming to the conference. Oh, I'm sorry, Nathan.
There's
some guy coming to the conference. He says he's bringing a fingerprint machine to get the fingerprints of you shills to prove your shills. I'm like, okay, let me know when you set that up.
Well, that's interesting too, because we're actually going to have, like, for security, we actually have some veteran senior police as security. So I guess if they have a fingerprint machine, I guess the police can verify that's indeed true. So yeah, there's a lot of people saying they're going to do things like they're going to come and crash it. You know, all I want to say is everyone's going to be safe there. We have security. I'm making sure that all the provisions that I can think of are taken care of. I'm looking at every level of detail. I want this to be a really strong representation, not just for the community and the people that are participating in giving the presentations, but also for the world at large. When they see this, they look at it and say, you know what, we can say whatever we want. You know, that was one thing. One time I did a video with the Controversy 7, Emmanuel, that also will be coming to the conference. And we put together this production. And it was funny. There was a bunch of guys, I think it was right by the Flat Earth Awards, the first time you guys did it. They had their own shill awards. But what was funny is they came across this video and they were looking at all these shills and they said, well, yeah, these guys are shills, but whoa, wow. they're doing some really professional stuff here. Whoa, this is impressive. And I just thought it was funny that they were blown away at how well the production was. So what I want to do is, regardless if it wants to be ridiculed, at least it could be looked at in the sense of going, yeah, but these guys are getting to a point now where they're getting professional. They're getting to a point where they're getting organized in the sense that, we have to take them somewhat serious, because now they're moving into a next level. And that's why I say it's so exciting about the conference is it's not what happens at the conference. I'm excited, and I'm totally confident that everyone is going to have a brilliant time. They're going to have probably the highlight of their year. I mean, the amount of stuff that's going to be there. I mean, all the sessions, all the people, not to mention there's going to be a movie premiere, and then also the Flat Earth Awards with Mark and Patricia. It's going to be exciting. We're putting in entertainment, we're putting in teaching, all these things. So people are going to have a great time. But again, when the world looks in and watches, they can say, wow, this is done. I mean, even the live stream that we're doing is done by a 4-man production crew. I wanted to make sure that everything was done professional. Not to mention, I didn't want to just fly by the seat of my pants and go, oh, I'll just put up a camera on a tripod and hopefully it will work. I knew that the level of production had to be at a caliber that, people, were wanting to see something that was professional. So again, there's a lot of people's reputations there. So it's not just my own, it's not just the community, it's also the people representing, like Mark and Patricia and like Bob and Jaron and ODD and all of these people. So I wanted to make sure that there's something they're proud of every year that they can come back to and say, you know what, this is exciting. We're excited to be part of it. We're excited to grow with it. And again, we're open to, adding more people, more tracks, in the future as we grow. Again, I made sure at the beginning to say that, look, I'm not going to be biased as far as beliefs, as far as religions, as far as any of this type of stuff. I don't care where you come, as long as you're a team player. And what I mean by a team player is you're not out there every other month trying to sabotage or destroy someone else's credibility. At least get them on the phone, at least meet them in person before you start, saying things about them. That's one thing. But most times people are saying the worst, cruelest things about people, and they've never even met. They've never even picked up the phone and talked. So what I say is that to me is important. And I'm watching the community, I'm watching people, and I'm just saying that to me is the biggest thing. As long as you're kind of a team player, and you don't have to get along with everyone, you don't even have to agree with everyone. But as long as you're not going out of your way to try to destroy them and call them names and be hurtful, to me, that is how FEIC is going to continue to grow. And we're going to bring in all sorts of people. So anyone listening that thinks that, oh, it's just a bunch of these people, pretty soon when all of a sudden there's 50 people, I mean, you can't say they're all shills. So one by one, more and more people are going to be included that haven't been included this year. So I just want to let people know that, that is important to me. And again, there is no biases, but as long as you're a team player. Makes sense, doesn't it? I mean, you can't have people out there that if you're going to present with one another, what other conference would you see or convention where the presenters, after the conference is over, they're fighting one another, publicly. That just doesn't happen in real life. So let's be professional about it. Let's be cordial with one another. And the conference itself, like I said, is going to do that for a lot of people. The first time they're going to meet, I'm saying it right now, there's already going to be people that are going to be apologizing to people in person. Mark my words.
Yeah, I'm going to ask IPS if he can talk a little bit, because he caught a bit of flack and got mainstream coverage. He got asked his name and he gave Math Powerland's name. So maybe he can tell us a bit about that and the controversy it caused, but ultimately about the good the good bits rather than the negative bits.
Sure. The idea here was just to send traffic somewhere where it should go. And he and I had spoken twice before in the days leading up to that, because he was on his way to Albuquerque. And anyway, the conversation was, hey, I'm the leader of this. This is my thing. People need to get behind me, but I have to vet everybody. So the point of having FEA come visit was to vet me. So anyway, that was kind of the basis of our conversation. And I was like, well, he obviously wants the credit for everything. Maybe he wants the media attention. That was my understanding of it. So I was like, here, I'll just throw it his way and let him deal with it. Because you get that kind of a headline if you're media savvy. And I thought that as a self-proclaimed political scientist, he would have at least some modicum of media savvy. I thought he could have used that and hit some kind of a home run with it and ran with it. But apparently that's not his timeline or timetable. And things got confusing with Super Chat. I was showing, well, anyway, that's all sideshow, but you know how it went. But the main thing is the billboard made CBS News and then was mirrored on a number of other local sites, local newspapers. We established media contacts that have covered every element of this story developing since Billboard 1. And then Coast to Coast has picked up all those stories. So to me, this is just a big conversation starter. you know, each billboard has a, it's been like dominoes. We had one followed by another. I can't even keep track of them all now. So to me, it was just to set a precedent that it is that easy. There is enough interest. You can crowdfund it, minimal investment from a pool of people, and there's enough engagement in Flat Earth to where if we start doing things like this, other people will mirror it. And I think it's like dominoes. It's just going to continue.
Right. I mean, I've got the rather toxic chat currently up on screen in the behind the scenes feed on OBS, and you're getting the kind of toxicity that I'm describing goes away when you meet people in person. But just so we can I don't know how can I phrase this, so we can explain what we're getting away from. Can you give us a brief insight to what's going on in the chat room? Because I've been watching it. I mean, I don't know if it's a laugh or cry sometimes, but there we go.
No, it's a fascinating phenomenon, and I think the cause of it is this: in real life, if you brush against somebody who rubs you the wrong way in a grocery store or at school or your job, you don't have to talk anymore. You can avoid each other. But here on the internet, you have these same types of interactions, and they're there every day, and you have brand recognition. And so we do kind of accumulate a great deal. We have a lot of good, but then we also get a lot of sediment at the bottom, the worm eaters, the trolls, the goblins, the haters. And to me, it becomes a bit of a distraction because there's only so much space on the screen, only so many minutes in a hangout, that even losing a couple of minutes, to me, it's a tremendous waste of resources. And so I'm thinking the real world isn't like this. The real world has more empathy. People are more likely to listen and engage versus over the internet where it's immediate ad hominem. Well, it's easier to use ad hominem against people if you can't see them, if they're behind a screen, if they're 1,000 miles away. And so I'm thinking, if we get this in the street, we'll humanize it, we'll tap into that empathy. There's more communicated in the meta communication, tone of voice, facial expressions, and gestures than just text on a screen. So I kind of think it's the natural progression, and I see all these spontaneously organized meetups as an indication that this thing actually has broken out of the ivory tower, and now it is something that people are engaging with in their daily lives. I see people all the time, they're telling me, hey, I'm flat smacking people every day, and it's just so casual, and that's how I am. To me, it's like, Earth is flat, duh. What do we do next?
Yeah,
I'm
I
sort of
invited
nonchalant at this point.
Authentic Intent along, and unfortunately he's not able to make the show, but he's one of those that goes out flat smacking. his local fair, literally introducing people to flat Earth, and he's got a load of flack over it as well. You know, he was criticised initially for the age of the people that he was approaching, but you just think, who cares? You know, people are people. If they're looking like adults, they're able to have adult conversations, as far as I'm concerned. But you know, it doesn't really matter who receives this information, because the reality of our situation never changes and has always been the same. You know, the Earth is flat, regardless. But if you're 5 or 50 or 500 years old, it makes no odds. You know, the Earth is as it is. We've been deceived. That's pretty crucial. And hearing all the information that we hear daily through all of these sources, it's nice to have an alternative take on it. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw, Jaren released a bit of a video explaining about a letter that was sent out to new people into Ivy League colleges and telling them to think for themselves. You think, either there's some psychopath with duper's delight that's laughing in the faces of all these students, knowing full well how the education system will indoctrinate them, and telling them, you think for yourselves, you know, just to laugh at them. Or somebody somewhere genuinely is seeing the tides of change. So, I mean, I'm slightly trying to change the subject and bring it along to something different, which is, do you think that this mainstream exposure and the way we're moving forward will actually change the mass minds of the sheeple out there? That's open to anybody who wants to answer it, by the way.
Well, I'll just answer very briefly. I hope the mass minds won't get infected by all the toxicness that's in Flat Earth. I hope they take the good and the truth from it and won't start calling each other, you know, each neighbor transgender or shill or CIA agent. I hope that isn't what they get from Flat Earth. I hope what they get is that their world is not the shape that they've been told. They've been lied to, and this is a tragedy, and something must be done. And talking about it is the first step along the path to overthrowing all of this evil that's happening. So that's the number one thing I hope, that the people that don't know about it yet won't become children fighting on a kindergarten playground, like many of us in Flat Earth have become, and many who are in the chat right now.
But
Sorry, go on. I don't think it will, just because, or I don't think they'll dive into that right away, just because the topic, similar to the thing that you and I were chatting about this morning, Patricia, the guy that was rating YouTube pages. When he saw his first Flat Earth page, it struck him so sideways to the head that he wasn't sure how to even, the topic was throwing him. He could not rate the page.
Yeah,
because
it was my page.
It was your page.
Backstory. Nathan sent me a live YouTube video that was going on where there's a guy who's a YouTube content creator, and he creates content that's based on how to make, well, one of the things he does. He's a tech guy, how to make your channel better. And I sent him a $33 funny for flat earthers, but not for anyone else or conspiracy people, super chat so that he could rate my page. Other people were doing the same, like putting their name and saying, hey, look at my page and tell me what I could do to be a better YouTuber. He looked at my page, which says flat earth and other hot potatoes across the top, and said, his first comment was, I don't really understand what this is about.
Exactly.
Like,
and he kept saying that he wasn't. I mean, we're talking about a guy
about flat Earth. I'm like, yeah, it's in the title.
This is a guy that's probably seen 1,000 or more, or rated 1,000 or more YouTube pages.
He's been slightly flat smacked today, just a little.
Yeah, because he just didn't know what to do. And I like to throw that, multiply that like by the interviews that I've done. 90%, at least 95% of the interviews I've done, the people on the other side of the microphone don't know what to make of it. The reason why one of the reasons we're not getting pushback, it's so new and so novel, even though it's an old theory, is that they don't know what to do with the concept, to where they're listening to you talk and it's like, wait, it's like they're getting that surreal moment. They're going, wait, we're actually talking about this. This guy's actually, you know what? I'm just going to sit here and let it happen. Whatever's happening, I'm just going to let it happen. And that's what I think has been happening in mainstream right now. Whereas, like for example, I'm just looking at the thing. USA Today has run 2 flat Earth stories this week alone, 2 completely different flat Earth stories, because they don't know what to do with it. It's interesting. And at the same time, there's so much content on the other side that, by the time anyone digs into, and this is directed toward Patricia, by the time that they get into the darker corners of it, they've already absorbed so much. Then, at that point, it's like, okay, which camp am I for? And then they go down that path. But they've already been exposed. They've already been inoculated, for lack of a better term.
On this particular channel, as they were doing their live stream this morning, the people in the chat who were watchers just like me, some of them were content providers, they were giving all sorts of comments when he was looking at he looked at my page and many other people's pages, but I was the only flat earth page, and their comments were all positive about my channel, positive about the pictures of my channel they were seeing, positive about my picture. They weren't saying anything like CIA shill, tranny, or any of those other things, because the real world doesn't look at things like that. And they were also positive about the numbers of views, the subscribers. It shocked them that something like Flat Earth would have that many subscribers. And the funny thing is that I have almost 12,000, which is a lot to some, but not compared to the bigger flat earth channels. And there's a ton of bigger ones. Right. And so they were shocked that even my medium-sized, maybe medium-low-sized channel had that many subs. I mean, if he would have been sent like a Jeranism,
I was thinking the same thing.
He would have really flipped out, like very professionally done, a normal-looking person, well-spoken, nicely set up channel, and a lot of subscribers. So
we forget how hard it is. The flat earth community is actually spoiled in that regard. It's how hard it is to get subscribers in the YouTube world nowadays. In fact, this guy's channel, which only had, if I'm not mistaken, he's got 76,000 subscribers, but he is known as an authority on rating YouTube channels and advising people. And lots of people come in there, and it's usually under, from what I could tell, usually under 1,000 subscribers. And they're all asking, it's like, help me revamp, help me get more subscribers. What can I do? What can I do? And so when you came in again, you threw him, because it's like, initially he's like, what flat? Wait, what am I looking at? And then he noticed you had, pushing 12,000 subscribers, and he congratulated you for it, because a lot of the people that listen to his live streams would be thrilled to have 12,000 subscribers. And
I'm thrilled to have 12,000 subscribers.
Well, the point is it shouldn't be possible. Is what I mean. I love statistics. It should not. We're talking flat Earth here. There shouldn't be channels like ODD who's going to break six figures, and Rob Skiba who's going to break six figures if he's not already there, and Eric and Jaron and I'm sorry, Controversy 7 who's already got six figures. There's all sorts of people that are already up there, and the numbers just keep ratcheting up. When's the last time we saw a flat earther who took a huge dive other than having his channel wiped out entirely? For whatever reason. It's not like, that's why the producers are around, and that's why the different media companies are circling around, because they see this and going, we've gotten to the stage now to where media can't ignore it as just some passing thing. Time has actually worked in our favor now, to where, in the beginning of 2016, you're going, this is never going to hold on. Oh, no. It's 2017 now. We're coming to the end of 2017. Look what we've done. Look where we are at this point. And in just 2 years.
That's really interesting you say that, because are you right? Are you right in saying that there's so many flat earth channels out there that they all do the same pattern, like heliocentric stars? They grow fast, they burn bright, and then they pop and fizzle out. They're either wiped out by YouTube, and then they don't have the gumption to keep going and do it.
Usually it's just an enthusiasm level. I've run into it. Look, I'm one of the rare cases, I admit, and same with Patricia and same with others, like you. I mean, it takes some stamina to keep going, because when your energy levels are up so high, you want everything. Seriously, it's got this euphoric thing where you want the world to change now. I want to go tell everybody. And when it doesn't happen, you just like, oh man, and then your energy levels kind of go down. Now, you may not kill your channel, but you're not going to be putting out videos for a while, and that does happen all the time with smaller and medium range people.
But there's people like, do you remember Stars Are Souls and Stephen Chess will attest
that
to
was
this?
That was a little different though. He was stuck in an odd position, and I'm not going to speak out of turn because Patricia knows him more than I do, where he had a chance to go. He wanted to rejoin the Matrix, basically, and he knew that he couldn't do that and do Flat Earth at the same time. It just can't. And the bigger you are, I mean, honestly, I don't think I'm not trying to be a downer or anything. I don't think I could get a regular gig now if I tried.
I mean, I was thinking about that. If you just search my name, it just comes up with a bunch of flat earth stuff. Imagine if I went into, I live in Texas, an oil and gas company and tried to apply. I mean, I have a lot of connections. I could get a really good job, even if I wasn't qualified for it due to connections. But once they, human resources or whatever looks at my name, it's flat earth, shill, flat earth. And they'd be like, that's just, next, please.
Yeah. Social media has changed everything. The line from a movie, and I'm not going to quote it because you guys are sick of me quoting movies, was that everything sticks now. Everything's out there, and it is out there.
We have Robbie D dancing at a wedding many years ago. That's out there.
Oh my God,
that's so awesome too.
It was awesome. But it also helps us, because all the articles, all the interviews, all the things we put out there, the metrics just keep piling on to where and all the good stuff. I will say this, the cream does seem to rise to the crop. Heck, I can't even find flat earth clues half the time when I'm doing searches in the first couple of pages. I know they're out there and I know people watch them, but they're usually under a different name. But all the other main stories are still there, and they keep, again, I'm just looking, B.O.B., Jaylen Brown, all the other NFL people, and all the other sports celebrities, and then of course all the weird, odd conspiracy stories. But to steal something from Robbie real quick, because I'm going to totally steal this line from you, is that, yeah, you're absolutely right. The people that come to the conference, there's three different angles. One's the conspiracy, one is the scientific angle, and one's the religious. What I love about that trilogy right there that you mentioned is that it's almost impossible to defend against. Meaning, if you even want to attack it from a media side, you may be able to pick one of those three, maybe two out of the three. You're never going after all three, and that is a wonderful thing to have on our side, because how can you go against it? I don't think it can be done. Sorry, that's my rant. Wow.
That's all good.
I'll just get this in quick. Interesting, right? Sub gave me a message this morning. He was in a supermarket, Asda's, which is a big supermarket chain in the UK, and they were talking about flat Earth on their radio station favorably. Out of all the Asdas in the UK. That's what I said. What? He come back. He said, "I'm not." He's not lying. So I thought, what? So they got a radio station, and the DJ that's going across the nation. He's a flat earther, and he's talking about flat Earth favourably, and it's going out over all the Asdas in the UK today, this morning. I'm not joking.
Exciting.
And we keep forgetting about the international side of it, which is, I mean, you guys probably already seen that Dutch television station. I was sitting there with my mouth open, waiting for the other shoe to drop, waiting for him to come after him, and they didn't do it. And it's going, that's the best thing ever. You know, even though it was translated, it's still fantastic. We keep forgetting. And I know I did a video on this, oh boy, at least it's 6 months ago, where if you type in flat earth and convert it to another language and put it into Google, you will find a whole nother level of videos and stories that are out there that we just never see because we only search in English.
As for the B.O.B. story where he wants to do a GoFundMe, is he, I've seen the story. I didn't read it very thoroughly. It was in passing that I saw it. Is he getting a lot of pushback with people saying, hey, B.O.B., you're rich. Why don't you pay for it yourself?
Yes, Martin's one of them.
I posted about it. Yeah, he's getting some, but he's raised a lot of money already, apparently. He's had a Kickstarter, $125. That was yesterday. So it's on.
Wow.
It's on. Yeah, I know. So
I'm looking at the story right now, and yeah, he wants it to. He's originally set the goal at $500,000.
Is it Kickstart or GoFundMe?
It is GoFundMe.
Yeah, Martin read out the full article on his channel, and I've got to admit, Martin seemed pretty negative, and he said almost verbatim what you said, Patricia, which is, "Oi, you're rich."
Yeah, he could do any of this himself. He could knock up a billboard like that. What's he not earning money? He's a rap star. So why does he need a GoFundMe is my question. It really is.
Don't know if I like that attitude. Don't know if I like that at all.
I agree, Patricia. That's the reason why is to involve the people.
Yeah, and that way their awareness comes in. Then they learn about it.
He truly knows Jerry and Patricia. He knows, the flat earthers, or he's spoken to the flat earthers.
Yes,
if they're watching flat earthers, what flat earthers are they watching? The flat earthers a year. Yeah, I never personally, or anyone I know really communicate.
Jaron and Eric Dubé, from what I've heard.
Yeah, right. He's watching. He's definitely watching and he's communicating. He has a couple of times. So expect more from B.O.B. I think he's just trying to prep himself and he doesn't want to come off stupid and he wants to make sure that, he's got all bases covered. So he's gone to Jaron a couple of times asking him advice on certain things. So yeah, B.O.B. is a force to be reckoned with. Watch what's going to happen, I think, in the next 5 years with him, because he's not going to go quietly and he's not going to allow anyone to tell him what to do. So he's definitely on our side for sure.
I think taking that attitude, Martin, is totally unfair. I mean, if you imagine the flip side of that would be me sitting here now and saying, if only we had someone like B.O.B. to promote a fundraiser to do something amazing for Flat Earth, imagine how much money it would pull in. So if you say, well, now you've actually done that, famous rapper, how dare you? You should just put the bill.
Position towards rap culture, because to me, it's really sort of satanic by nature, and he's a rap star. So to me, like, I would just, if I was a flat earther, I'd dump that crap straight away. But this is business. So he's using it. So he's using a lot of stuff. So I'm not really sure, Nathan.
But he's totally
going on my instinct for this dude. He looks like a skanker to me.
You're pigeonholing him. You're saying he's a rapper, which is true, but why is he any different to? How is that any different to somebody pigeonholing Patricia as a CIA shill or something bonkers? He's just a guy, doing a fundraiser for Flat Earth. What's wrong with that? How is he any different to us? Is what I'm saying, Martin. Just because he's got money and he's earned it. What's wrong with that?
No, I just found out today that Jaron had spoken to him because that's what I'm trying to say. Whenever I Google Flat Earth, the society comes up, and every time I've been spoken to by them, they mention the society, and the society's rubbish. So it's that sort of thing, I'm thinking, Google it and see what comes up. You've got to dig deep just to find this law. So what is he watching? So why are all of these stars never talking? Because the flat earthers are right here. So why are we not communicating? But I found out today that they are. So
maybe IPS will comment on this, because I just see this as sort of globehead mentality. They kind of tell us that we should shame people who earn money, and that's kind of what you're doing to B.O.B. You're kind of saying, well, you've got money, therefore you should be spending it on this cause that you're trying to draw attention to.
Well, I wouldn't have it anyway because I would cough it up to my brother man, but it's his business. But I'm just saying from my perspective, my flat earth reality, the way I perceive flat earthness, and he just doesn't seem to be it. All right, he's raising money, he's got to GoFundMe. He's a fucking rap star. He's got probably $1 million in the bank. So what's going on? All right, he's getting attention. He's going to pull people in. But I don't know, Nathan. I really don't. Well, last time I seen an interview,
I've got to do this to you, Martin. I'm really sorry. So let's say, for the sake of argument, that Flat Earth gets absolutely massive and you become an international celebrity and suddenly you've got £1 million in the bank and you suddenly see a really good cause in the dog's home and you go on TV. Hold on, Martin. Let me just give you my example. You go on TV and say, I'm trying to raise money for the dog's home. And some jumped up little tosser comes along and says, you've got £1 million in the bank. Give it all to the dog's home. And you think, well, actually, I use that $1 million to buy things with, and I'm just trying to help you out, guys. Dog's home. Well, I'm not saying we are as flat earthers comparable to Battersea Dog's Home.
Will probably be proved to be wrong, but in the fullness of time, we will see, won't we?
Someone else is going to have to...
With regards to GoFundMe accounts in general, like, for example, when it came to... which was it? The billboard. There was somebody who emailed me right away and said, I can pay for it. And I said, well, no, I would rather have 1,000 donors, each putting in $5 or $10, because that gives you 1,000 social media accounts that are sharing it and spreading that information, rather than just having one person pay for it. So it's all about community engagement, many people sharing it. And then the day that it's fulfilled, every person who gets who donated gets an email saying, hey, share your success. And so that's how you make it go viral. If it goes viral, you could potentially bring in an exponential amount of money, far beyond what one donor could do. So for me, it's all about that. And as far as BOB's plan to send a satellite into space, like, obviously it would be cheaper just to rent one or pay one of them to take the picture. But what I think he's going to do is he's going to raise the question, how come we don't already have pictures?
Yep.
He's drawing attention to that.
It's free press. Yeah. BOB's no dummy in this regards. He did the exact same thing when Shaq came out. He followed that. All of a sudden, B.O.B. was like, did his first interview on camera with that radio station. I think it was an L.A. radio station, and they grilled him about flat Earth, and he didn't do so well in the interview. And then what just happened before he came out? Sammy Watkins, the NFL star, and one of the Boston Celtics came out and said, "Oh yeah, it's flat Earth's really interesting." I mean, seriously, as soon as Sammy Watkins,
yeah, that's right.
Yeah, as soon as he came out, it's like, oh, hey, B.O.B.'s back, because it's easy. It's free. It doesn't cost him a dime. He has his agent call somebody at the news thing saying, yeah, B.O.B.'s going to do a GoFundMe. You know, paying for it himself, that doesn't give him any press. That's nothing. Who knows? There will be a lot of, several hip hop magazines have already touched on this. So it's good. I'm glad he's doing it that way. I don't know how much follow-through he'll get, but...
Exactly. I mean, you're one of those statistics, Martin. So you have literally covered this story. And you're expanding on this. The nature of what he's done and how he's done it has been effective, and you're affecting it. So to criticise it is kind of unfair, in my opinion.
It would be awesome if I could just speak to the dude and find out what he's all about, because his outside perspective.
It's just green-eyed jealousy. You want to be B.O.B.'s friend, don't you? That's all it is.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Martin looks just like a rock star anyway, so you know.
No, I'm not totally against it at all. I'm just careful because he's a tool. He's basically in with them, isn't he? You can't deny this, can you? You can't. So suddenly, he's a flat earther. Yeah, he's allowed to do their stuff. So he can't come out too much, because otherwise he's going to lose all of his money and all of his livelihood and his next big album and everything else that happens. So he's asked for GoFundMe. He's getting publicity, and I can understand that. But you've got to understand it might be, maybe a 0.5% something else going on.
I always say that when it comes to the truth, the truth is the truth, no matter who speaks it. And again, how are we going to stop someone like, for example, if there was not B.O.B., but let's say there was another rapper that came out and his whole plan was try to discredit the movement. What I'm saying is we can't prevent this. Like, I hear this all the time. People are like, oh, we can't allow this person to do this, or we can't get behind this. And I'm just like, you know what? The truth is the truth. I don't think we have to be paranoid as far as who gets involved with this. Over time, people will fizzle out. We will see the true colors of people as time moves on. So in the meantime, let's come together. Let's use our strengths. Let's, look at, what our weaknesses are, our strengths, and let's work together. Because what I say, I'm just not saying B.O.B. though. What I'm saying is whether it's Eric or it's Matt, all I'm saying is people get all.
It's not one of us here wouldn't give forgiveness to everybody that's ever sent forgiveness, evil or hate our way. I know I would. I know I'd forgive anybody right from this moment and not even think a bad thought of them again, or at all. Not that I do. And I think any one of us would.
No, speak for yourself.
Definitely.
Speak for yourself. I hold grudges.
Oh, I don't. You can't hold grudges. It's bad for you.
But, I mean, while we're on the vein, because we've come off Nick Nimmin, I think his name is, the chap that critiqued Patricia Steers' Flat Earth and Other Hot Potatoes YouTube channel. But some of the things that he was talking about are definitely relatable to Flat Earth because it's so YouTube heavy, it's so YouTube related. And Martin and I were discussing this the other night in terms of how to not burn out. And it was actually Lawrence, what's his name? What's his surname?
Right.
Lawrence Wright, who first gave me this tip or coined this phrase about flat Earth burnout syndrome, where essentially, like the bright burning candle, you end up burning too bright and burning out too quickly. And the advice is to pace yourself, don't go nuts, don't go streaming daily. I mean, there's people out there that can do that, but normally they've come from arenas that do this regularly anyway. Some of them have come from Twitch and so on, and they're used to doing it with games. Whereas to your average Joe, I mean, don't get me wrong, I put out a few videos on YouTube for maybe 6 or 7 years before I went nuts making Flat Earth videos. Went nuts in the respect of the amount of videos I made, or have made. But that is, as Mark pointed out, quite unique. Most people just don't have the stamina to do that, but will try. So the best tip to most people out there, if you're thinking of sort of spreading your information about Flat Earth, is definitely pace yourselves and don't get too involved in the chat rooms. The chat rooms are poison, unfortunately. Mark, you can talk about, because you've had a show about this with Patricia very specifically, like mean tweets, about the comment sections. And I split these up into two. You've got the chat rooms, which are like the AOL chat rooms of old, and I'm sure they probably still exist. And you've also got the comment sections, which are basically a forum. But you rarely even, I don't think you comment in your own at all, do you?
I don't. I did not. And I did that deliberately because I'm older and I'd been on YouTube long enough. I've been on the internet long enough that I knew what was out there in the forums. And you probably heard me say it. The saying, which I loved, was, if you can't, we've all heard, if you can't say something nice, don't say it at all. No. That's not how it should go. If you can't say something nice, you're probably in the YouTube forums, because it is just a viper den to where I literally did not turn on any of my comments, did not turn them on for 6 months on any video. And then Jonathan from Jersey finally was bugging me. He's going, look, people like to fight. People like to square off at each other. It's like, man, I don't want to do it. But, YouTube has that power. So I turned them all on simultaneously. And the fun and games began. And yeah, I've me. I mean, other people. But the advice I try to give to anyone that's trying to do a brand new YouTube channel is, if you want to have any of your ego retained at all, don't read the comments, because you got to have thick skin. It's brutal out there. It's ugly. I mean,
you're sheltered, Mark, from even Facebook. I always say to people, I'm like, wow, Mark's lucky, man, because he doesn't even get to see Facebook or Twitter. There's other mediums that are even worse, in my opinion, because I mean, YouTube is like one-offs and it's just brutal. But Facebook, you get really personal and you get into long, engaging discussions. So what I'm saying is, you not even being on Facebook, you avoid seeing a lot of stuff that a lot of us see, and that wanes on us. So I agree, though, you have to allow comments not to bother you. Don't look at them or let them bounce off you, or whatever you do, because if you actually take them to heart, it's going to probably take you down.
Yeah. Sticks and stones may break your bones, but words do permanent damage. And that's always seems to be the case. But at the same time, you have to turn on comments, because otherwise people don't take you seriously. They, for whatever reason, they love squaring off. And I don't moderate the comments. I hardly read the comments. Patricia and I decided to cave in fairly recently and read some of them, because the mean tweets, I think it was Jimmy Kimmel that came up with the mean tweets, or was
fun.
it? It can be fun. Of course, we pick and choose the ones that we're gonna allow
we
in
didn't
there.
leave out any bad ones. We left out ones that didn't make any sense. You know, the ones that are just like, you're dumb. I mean, that's not even worth reading, you know. So
yeah, I mean, but there's some personal angles that are not politically correct, which we don't.
Oh yeah.
You know, stuff like that, or yeah, they can get awful. But at the same time, there was a producer. You guys probably, some of you know this already. When I did the Shady 45 interview, and I was just getting crushed inside that thing. They were just coming at me right and left. What was, and it was they only allowed the calls for about 30 minutes. What was amazing to me was the producer's reaction at the end. He was so happy. He goes, I'm so glad you didn't hang up and you just stood there and you took the comments. And he goes, and every producer knows this, which is love it or hate it. If you're talking about it and you're talking about it with passion, that's got value. That's got that is what they want. They do not care, which is why I love some of the mainstream stories, because when they come at you, which is why I think Flat Earth, when it finally really, really breaks open, it's gonna be fantastic because it's so polarizing. And that is, love it or hate it. You cannot ignore it. You cannot walk away from it. It is not like any other, not even a conspiracy, any other idea. So we've had fun with it though, so far. Patricia.
Yeah, we haven't done one for a while. Maybe we need to do one.
Yeah, maybe we should.
Sometime
I
soon.
haven't gotten too much flack. I haven't got any emails saying you shouldn't do it.
No, I've only got positive ones. Like, when are you doing another drinking show? It really isn't.
By the way, it helps to have a few drinks while you're doing it, because
the allegations of transgender that have hit a couple of us in this. Actually, several of us in this chat, and some who aren't in this.
What accusations? This is news to me. Accusations?
No, I don't think you've been called. No, I think, of course, IPS, Mark.
I was just misgendered a minute ago in the chat room.
Misgendered. Well, if there really was somebody who was trans in our community, who went on camera and talked, and I think that sounds crazy. Why would they hide? Why wouldn't they come out? They're not afraid to come out as a flat earther. Why would they pretend to be some other gender? It doesn't even make sense. If you're a truth seeker, you're going to be letting it all hang out there and say all the things. There's so many people there's so many people in Flat Earth who say, oh, I did this before. It wasn't that cool. I did this before. That wasn't great. I've changed. I'm a different person. Who's to say that there may not be somebody who's come out and say, yeah, at one point in my life, I had a bunch of operations and became a different sex. I'm also a flat earther. I think that the community, if it was honestly done, would be, well, some people would be against it, but I think that it would be accepted. The fact that there's rumors that many people in Flat Earth are actually secret transgenders is, why would they come out about this huge truth, but not that, which is much of a smaller truth? It absolutely makes no sense. So any trans people out there, if you're a flat earther, get on YouTube and start making videos.
You've segued beautifully though, Patricia, because that's what I was going to round out this sort of maybe advice section for people maybe thinking about doing flat earth videos, which is something that Martin hit the nail on the head when he said, keep your nose clean. And that comes back to something we talked about on the most previous group show we did, which is about credibility. And if you're going to buy into the toxic nature of YouTube, the chances are that you're going to hear a lot of bullshit stories. And if you repeat them, you sabotage your credibility. And that's important when we're in an arena that's talking about something that's so fundamental to our well-being. You know, our very nature is about the thing that we're talking about. So when we span off on these tangents about people being trannies, or I don't know, there's 101 different subjects that are similar to that you just roll your eyes and think, why would you want to jeopardize your credibility when there's such an important fundamental truth at stake? It just makes no sense to me. But people do it all day long. I mean, we've mentioned about one who shall not be named that gives IPS a load of grief. He's in our chat at the moment. And, you know, he has no credibility. Just the amount of crap that he spews. And it's true for, unfortunately, quite a few flat earthers. There's a load of... I can't remember what video I watched a while back. I think it was Wakey Wakey. I think it was the one I rebroadcast rather than just watching them. I've actually started rebroadcasting them. But Wakey Wakey was essentially pointing out that it's okay to speculate. You know, it's actually very healthy to speculate. But the speculation and the speculation, you know what I mean? And the kind of speculation that we see directed to us personally, and this wraps up nicely with what Robbie was saying right at the beginning. It's when you are attacked personally that it makes you sigh, because it's not really anything to do with Flat Earth at all.
Right.
It's about an individual that's saying a message, and they want to point out where you live or what you do, or even if every single one of us had a history with the CIA, it wouldn't make any difference, as Robbie so eloquently put. The truth is the truth, no matter who says it. So who gives a damn if we were all CIA shills? It wouldn't matter in the slightest.
And also, we were talking about B.O.B. and how he has money and all of that. And having money makes you, quote, one of them. But what if there was somebody who was a millionaire who became a flat earther and wanted to be a part of it just the same as all of us here and in the live chat and who are watching this later? Are they banned from being a flat earther? Are they banned? Because they're...
There is one, a millionaire. He lives, his neighbour is Elon Musk. He's got some sort of Church of the Flat Earth Firmament. And there was a guy called Rennie running it. And this guy's a multi-millionaire flat earther. And he's got some sort of, little flat earth Xanadu going on down there, where they're growing all their own food. They educate children about growing food and flat earth stuff on the weekends. Do you remember this, Rennie?
Yes, I definitely do.
Yeah, so this guy he worked for as his gardener. We were trying to get him to talk to him. He's a multi-millionaire. His neighbour's Elon Musk. Just saying that millionaires out there.
Right. So if somebody comes out and is one, there would be no need for the community to go, oh my God, they're one of them. We don't want them here because they've got lots of money. Poor, rich, unattractive, attractive, whatever their gender is, whatever their skin color is. I think in the best possible world, we would all just say, welcome, come on in. What is it that you can do to help?
I would like to amend that statement by Patricia, in that you're absolutely right. I think the Flat Earth community would accept just about everybody. No, I mean, probably 99% of the celebrity world we'd probably accept. I can only think of two exceptions. One would be, and both of them are kind of conspiracy guys. One would be Mark Dice, because he's just an idiot. And the other would be Alex Jones. He'd have to apologize for, I know, think of that. If Alex Jones all of a sudden said, oh, yeah, I'm totally flat earth. But again, because they tried to set up an interview and they couldn't do it because they were scared to death, he couldn't do it without some sort of apology. Oh, I'm sorry. There is one more guy.
Cool.
You guys have forgotten because we haven't heard of him from him lately. Joe Rogan.
Right.
Yeah. That would be crazily amazing.
He flipped.
But if he flipped back, I would think there'd be an agenda and he was lying to do something bad to us, because I don't trust him.
I'm still hoping for Robbie's sake that we get some sort of last minute cameo at this thing. I hope somebody is close enough on the East Coast where they send, I wouldn't mind. I know we're not going to get NDT, but it would be great if somebody convinced Bill Nye to come down, or Joe Rogan sent somebody, or Alex or sent they would send somebody last minute to try to see what they could do. Honestly,
it never happened, because if anyone was sent down, they'd have to assess some of the material that's out there to know what they're up against.
Well, you'd think so, but it does. Sometimes it doesn't happen. Look at oh boy, who is it? What was his name?
A ton of interviews you've done, and they didn't even know Flat Earth was even a real thing, and they agreed to do an interview with you. I mean, how crazy is that?
Nah, come on. If Neil deGrasse Tyson was to turn up on one of these shows, you're telling me that he wouldn't know that he was going to get tore a new asshole by a flat earther? I think he would
I don't think even Robbie could guarantee NDT's safety if he showed up at that thing.
I mean, if he did turn up with that attitude.
Unfortunately, we have painted him into being such a villain that I don't know if, I mean, he'd feel the energy if he walked in. I think
he's a victim, not a villain. So is Bill Nye and all these other people. I don't really think that they know. I think they just are following the party line and have high paying jobs and don't care to look at anything.
I agree. If Neil walked in, seriously, it might as well be a normal person walking into a coliseum of vampires. It'd be people all you'd see is eyes and teeth. Just staring at him, clocking his every movement. Camera phones would be out everywhere.
It raises an interesting question though, because if you think about it, you've got a certain handful of people that we're saying would come into a snake pit because they're unaware. And if that's the case, then there's nothing to stop it being the case for absolutely everybody. In other words, when Martin earlier described B.O.B., he's with them, or I've forgotten how he phrased it, but some words to the effect that he's with the powers that should not be in some way, shape or form. And I would argue the complete contrast, which is that there is no powers that should not be. There's just lots and lots of systems that are in place that may be being held up by certain people, but there is no really they, just people that go through the systems and negotiate their way through things that are already well and truly established, like the education system. So that being the case, it is all about communicating with the individual, like Neil deGrasse Tyson. In other words, there's a good chance, although if he was at the conference, he might get pelted by eggs and rotten tomatoes, but, you know, if he was managed to survive that and actually, you know, put across some of his points and some of his arguments, which would be swiftly debunked probably by the audience, let alone people on stage.
Well, that's the reason. And that's the reason that Neil deGrasse Tyson would never, ever come to a conference, is because it's not like he has overlords, but he has agents and PR. And again, he would have to come in a controlled environment. He'd have to have the questions they don't do stuff. I mean, unless you catch him on the street, you know, but again, him actually coming out of his way to come to a conference, to be bombarded by that many people, in the event that he could look stupid, right? Again, they would never chance it, right? So I just don't think that happened. This type of scenario will ever happen.
He did get accosted. He got on a one-to-one level. I've forgotten who the guy was. Sorry? He was some guy that called himself Redneck, this, that, and the other, or something. And he accosted Neil deGrasse Tyson and said he was I think he said he was an amateur rocket scientist.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that one there. But again, exactly. But remember in that video, I think if you look on the side, you can see a guy with Neil that's sitting over to the side, like it's his security, it's his agent, you know, or whatever. And he just agrees to it before he goes into a function. So, I mean, a one-off like that, sure, Mark or me or somebody could run into Neil deGrasse Tyson, ask him real quick, hey, do you got a couple seconds? Okay, fine. You know, it's up to him to decide. But for him to actually go out of his way, or Bill Nye, or that will never, ever happen. Because again, if people caught it on their cell phones, social media, he was stumped on the curvature rates, or he just looked like a fool, right? So I just don't, and I agree with Patricia that I don't think, as much as we demonize him, I don't believe that, you know, he wakes up every morning and go, you know, hey kids, I'm going out to deceive the world today. I believe that he's just deceived himself. And I mean, for people to believe that all these people are in on this thing and they're purposely keeping it, he just looks at it as ridiculous. He's been indoctrinated his whole life. All his education is behind it. All his peers, you know, he's in circles that they just probably laugh at it. Hey, did you hear about this conference, Neil? Oh yeah, what crazy stuff, you know. So I think that they just laugh at it. I don't think that they're in on it, but it is funny to entertain the thought of it. And Mark is right that not so much his safety, but it would be vicious. I mean, unfortunately, he wouldn't even be well received in a polite way. He wouldn't even be cordially, you know, saying, hey, we're thankful that you would take the time. He'd probably just be mauled and attacked. Like, it wouldn't be a good situation. So unfortunately, we've got to a point where we can bring up these figures, but we've got to be, I guess, sometimes a little bit more gentle in our response. Because again, I'm sure he's going to watch things like this. He's going to see clips. He's going to see things. And hey, we can always throw it out there. Hey, we'd love you to come out for a formal, cordial, respectful debate. Are you up for it? He'll keep telling people, no, you know, I would never do that. Here's the reasons why. But as long as we sit there and say, what's he hiding? We just want to have a debate. I think where we can get a Neil deGrasse Tyson or a Bill Nye is to continue saying, look, we just want to set up a formal, cordial, respectful debate. What's up? Come on, once and for all, why don't you take this whole issue down? And the fact is they never will. And that will get a lot of people thinking, going, well, why doesn't they just take them down? Why don't they take these stupid flat earthers down? So that's where we can get them.
You got a good point. If you know what, to follow your lead there, if I'll do this officially, even though I have made videos against Bill Nye, I'm not hoping for NDT because I just got a feeling he wouldn't be that dumb, or his handlers would not let him be that dumb. But if Bill Nye wanted to come and want to talk about it, I would actually give up most of my floor time just to have him sit across a chair from me and, you know, see what he could do. Just to see, you know, just to have a pleasant chat about whatever it is.
He'll give you the boats go over the horizon.
Those guys would get left out of the room.
He'd be like, Mark, the boats go over the horizon. They go over the horizon, Mark. That's what he'd keep telling you.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Was that Stephen?
Okay. Stephen?
Any of those guys will get laughed out of the room in a debate against anyone here.
Yeah, they would. You know, it's funny because I actually had a chance to witness Dr. Stephen Pidgeon against Zen Garcia down in Atlanta. And as much as the crowd was civil, they lined up for the questions after the whole thing was over, and at least 70% of the questions were to Dr. Stephen Pidgeon, because they were trying to, it's like, look, kind of like I have a question, but why aren't you on board with us? Hey, I got a question, but why aren't you on board? And the truth was, and everyone was cordial, but the truth was, if he had been a public figure against Flat Earth, really, more high profile before that debate happened, they wouldn't have been as nice. And and the debate had already gone through, and he was as articulate as you could be in the debate against Zen, and was very cordial. But yeah, it could have turned ugly with just a little more coaxing. So yeah, you're right, Stephen. That some of those guys would, in fact, Brian Cox would be a perfect example.
They don't take us seriously. They don't really think we exist. They think we're, I don't know. It's like people who are aficionados of going to Shakespearean plays, not even thinking about the kindergarten that's putting on a Christmas play.
Oh, you're right. On a surface level,
although we're not like that.
I think you're right on a surface level, Patricia. People like Brian Cox would consider us in that way. But as Robbie points out, the systems prevent the two worlds ever colliding. That would be the ultimate prevention. So he doesn't have to consider it.
Sorry to interrupt, but the media at the conference, what's going to happen is there's going to be a bunch of releases, and I'm sure they're going to approach Bill Nye and Neil deGrasse and saying, hey, what do you got to say? There's this huge conference going on. This is what's going to happen. And I think whoever's interviewed or whoever gets that coverage, this is your opportunity to sit there and say, what do you have to say to Bill Nye? He said you guys are crazy and blah, blah, blah. Sit there and say, we'd love to have Bill Nye sit down and have a respectful debate. Is he open to that? I think that's one way that calmly we can approach the media, because they're going to hit us with the fact that, hey, we just read that Neil deGrasse Tyson said this about you guys, or Bill Nye said this. As time goes on and as this thing gains, they're going to keep coming back to us, because, again, Neil deGrasse Tyson's not going to call up Mark Sargent. But what's going to happen is the press is going to come and say, hey, Mark, I heard that article that Neil deGrasse said about that Mark Sargent guy. And said, what do you have to say about that? Sit there and say, we would love to set up a debate. Honestly, if we say that calmly, say we can set up wherever, we will come to you, we will set it up under your whatever. But the fact is, when the press keep hearing that over and over again, they're going to publish that. They're going to say all they want is a debate. At some point, we might be surprised, but maybe in the future, and I don't believe for a while, but at some point they might have to, because the public pressure is going to be so big, because they're going to say, look, these guys just keep saying, look, we just want to have a formal debate. Sit down to us and show us and prove to us empirically that we're nuts. I think that's where we're going to get a lot of the scientific-minded people going, wait a minute, what's up with these science guys? They're not scientifically defending their model, and they're not scientifically destroying these flat earthers. So what I'm saying is, for me personally, when they come at me and say, hey, I heard Neil deGrasse Tyson said this about you as this event organizer, said you must be crazy to put on a flat earth conference with all these people, I'll just sit there and say, I know with the community that we would love to be able to engage in a formal debate, if he's open. So my response would never be to combat Neil deGrasse Tyson or talk negatively about him. It's just challenge him. We need to challenge the scientific community, because exactly this is what we're trying to do, and get this out into the mainstream. Really, to get it out into the mainstream, we've got to get people wondering why the figureheads of science, whenever there's a science problem, something happens, let's call Bill Nye or Neil deGrasse. I think it's so silly that people can't even wake up to the fact that these are the brightest guys of our age. You're calling Bill Nye and Neil deGrasse Tyson for all things science. So to me, if these guys can't come up with the answers, and they bring up boats go over the horizon, these are easy debunkable. And again, it works to our favor, because they're not bringing up some brand new stuff where we're like, yikes, whoa, these guys are coming at us hardcore. They're coming at us with the same stuff they've been coming at us with in 2015, because there is nothing else to come at us with. That's what I find intriguing about this. There is no more, guys. That's it. There's boats go over the horizon. You're stupid. You're too small to see the curve. And wow, we're dealing with something that even in 2 years, I've been waiting and watching for the day that they're like, whoa, I didn't see that coming. And it's not coming, because it can't come. Because again, it's been a lie all along, and you can't defend lies, with any more proof when there is no proof to defend a lie. There is none. And so to me, it's a really great opportunity. So I'm going to use Neil deGrasse Tyson and Bill Nye to my advantages in any of my interviews, because I'm going to say, look, as an event organizer, I'd love to set up a formal debate, respectful, and just, hey, put that out to them the next time you're talking to them.
Nice.
Cool.
I like it.
Before we round out the main part of this show, I want to give a bit of a plug to the UK conference, which is going to be coming up in 2018, along with Flat Earth FEMA Camp. So I don't know if IPS is still hanging around. I know he's been very active in the chat room for this show, but if you can give a bit of a plug to the FEMA Camp as well, that'd be brilliant.
Oh yeah, yeah. I outsourced my chat room activity. That's not actually me. No, I'm just kidding.
Right.
No,
So it's a sock doing it for you, is it?
now your meetup in the UK in 2018. That's assuming that the world isn't already flat by then. But as far as the FEMA camp, the Flat Earth Music and Arts, that was actually coined by Issa from Flat Earth Court. He's supplying a lot of the music. And what we want to do, and it's right before the conference, so we're really going to be able to hype it up. But the place has 3 main areas. One room is art, outside area for music. We're going to have people like ODD is going to do a couple live songs. We're going to have OBL music, very eclectic, and several other musicians like Snack and a few others you may know. And then downstairs, we're going to have a panel, and there's actually a podcast room that the gallery has. So we're going to have a live stream from FEMA Camp the entire time to do interviews, kind of green room stuff with all the people who are contributing, people doing the art, the music, as well as Ty Gorton from Flat Revival will have a booth there for the magazine. So it's kind of a covering all of the different ways that people have engaged the topic in one place, FEMA Camp, and then co-opting the term FEMA Camp and FEMACamp.com, because the FEMA Camp thing has always been this boogeyman, a little bit of the fear porn line of Alex Jones for years. So we're taking the wind out of it and co-opting it, making it into something that does not have fear attached to it. And that's the 4th and the 5th of November.
Cool. Martin, you recently made a bit of a plug or an ad for the UK conference. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Well, it's made by Holly Street Show. Really cool video. So yeah, I just put that up for the conference in April, end of April 2018 next year. But yeah, the world might be flat by then, so it might not be needed. No, yeah, it's gonna be cool.
Yeah, that one's being organised by Gary John, and that's in Birmingham. Sorry, you go ahead, Martin. I was just saying that's going to be in Birmingham in 2018, so very cool stuff. Was there anything else anybody wanted to plug before we round out this part of the show?
I'm going to start reading again. For a while, I did some book reading. I did 1984 in full, and I read a page or two, a chapter or two of Brave New World, then stopped because of glasses and contact issues. I'm going to start up again with Brave New World. I'm going to start from the beginning. It's nothing special of an announcement, but I think I might start Tuesday. Just
cool. Animal Farm's a good quick read. It's only 109 pages.
Animal Farm was what I wanted to do next. I just took so much time away from doing it. So Brave New World, Animal Farm, starting Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern. But first, Brave New World. That'll take a while. That will probably take about 7 hours to read. So
you sir. Cool.
Fun. And also some scandalous stuff in that. If you remember from high school or whenever you read it, I'll try to keep an even keel and read it very nicely so children can be around.
Superb. Anybody else?
I just want to say, when it comes to the conference, it's November 9th and 10th. You can go to fe2017.com. We have the early bird live streaming tickets on right now for $17. That's for both days. And after October 15th, it goes to $27. So the early bird streaming tickets are on right now. It's going to be a fantastic production both days. And you can go to fe2017.com.
Awesome. Excellent stuff. Well, I'm going to round out and thank each and every one of you for being on. So starting from my left, we've got Jimmy, otherwise known as Critical Thinking Always. Hopefully you can hear us to say a big thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having us, Nathan. Appreciate it.
It's really wonderful having you here. Thank you very much for talking about your media experiences. It's been wonderful. And IPS, thank you very much for being here. It's been a pleasure hearing about billboards and chat rooms and all the glorious things that you've been doing. So thank you for being here.
Thank you very much. I had a great time with all of your trolls.
Yeah, indeedy. And Mark Sargent, thank you for being here. It's been wonderful. Always full of knowledge.
Ask questions.
And Martin Leakey, bit less jovial and chatty than you've been normally. Martin, worn out, no doubt, from all the huge amounts of content you've been putting out. So thank you for being here.
I am burnt out. I got plenty of content, just no time. That's just swimming up with me. So yeah, I'm shattered with that. Exactly that. Thanks. You are awesome, Nathan. Thank you very much for putting this together.
I don't know what Patricia Steer's doing. What are you doing? Oh, he's playing with a cat. I couldn't quite make out what you were doing there, Patricia.
All right.
Rory is here.
Sorry.
Jolly good. You were stroking your pussy. Jolly good. Yeah. Thank you very much for being here.
I knew you had to go there.
Had to be done. Had to be done. Thank you very much for being here, though, Patricia. It's been a pleasure as always.
Thank you.
And Robbie Davidson of Celebrate Truth. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much for having me, Nathan.
And last but not least, Stephen Chess. Great to have you as always.
Yeah, man. Good talking. Peace.
And to all of you, most importantly, who have joined us in the Google Plus live stream, thank you very much indeed for being here. Be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to get constant updates of the latest videos from Nathan Oakley 1980. In the meantime, I will see you all in the next video.
Peace and love.
That's it, that bit's done. Hey, well done all.
Oh my God, the chat room was like I don't know what it was like. Mud wrestling, I think.
I got a troll, flat earth British, threatening me. Like, well, he's going to meet me in chat.
That's unusual.
No, not really.
What is he threatening you? Like, with what?
Going to meet me. Say where?
Are we all there?
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
Kind of, sort of.
So,
Hi,
as
Jimmy,
always,
by the way. We haven't really met, but hi.
I know. Hey, Patricia. I wanted to say hi, but I didn't want to
Hi.
interrupt all the discourse. What's up, everybody? Speaking of which, my interestingly enough, my car was vandalized the other day.
Hello, everybody.
So,
What happened?
we tried John.
You
Somebody
know
was
who this is, right?
messing under the hood of the car.
So, I thought, how long before I mentioned this is still being broadcast,
Oh,
so we
hi.
are still on OBS going out live. Just so
You
you're
can't see
aware.
me.
No.
I'm right here.
Hi.
Got to get this in. I've got to get this in. All be aware, we're
You're
still
free,
being broadcast
by
on
the way.
OBS. So,
Okay, here's IPS.
cool. I've got it in. My disclaimer's been said. I can't do any more than that.
Well, be expecting a Flat Earth reset video in 3, 2, 1 on his channel.
Yeah.
What will this one be about? Bitcoin car, Robbie Davidson, Mark Sargent's the shill, IPS, of course, whatever, me, whatever, Stephen. Oh my God, I could write
To
the
me,
script.
It's like a tabloid. We have our own tabloid
Yes.
press for the flat Earth, and that's who they are. The
Yes,
scandal
and
hunters, the shill spotters.
Yeah.
It's all tabloid.
Subculture. It's a subculture of a subculture. That's all it is.
And they're doing what Andrea Sensi did to me a year or so ago, which is doing a organized campaign to thumbs down all my videos. So they're getting about 400 thumbs down the minute I put something out that's a flat Earth video. So that shows me that's their power. It's not 400 people because we know it's like sock accounts as well as people. So maybe 250 full-on haters. So just a guess, maybe more, 300 full-on haters. So same people keep rotating into the different chats and groups, and they hate all of us. And they don't have any solutions they're offering themselves. They just live to hate. So there's nothing you can do except just feel bad for them and pretty much just forgive them.
It's that crack crying in the morning. Terrible to see a grown man cry. You know what's going on there?
Who was crying?
Dan, really upset.
I don't really
Is
believe
history
that's
repeating
real.
itself that badly? Is Dan begging for money again?
No, he was talking about his son has Asperger's and kind of blamed it on me and other Satanists. But
What? He blamed.
I'm
Let me get this
crying
right.
about it. The more you watch these people, the more me and my son are gonna have to suffer. Like,
That's
I
the
mean, it
second
is
crazy
sad
thing
if
I've heard
it's
today.
true.
So
I'm
the
also
first
regret-
crazy thing I heard that people are drinking bleach. Have you heard this? First thing I heard. This is just insane. I can't believe I hadn't. I mean, I'd heard the term MMS before. I just paid it no attention, and then I just couldn't quite believe it when I actually looked into it for 25 seconds, and I was like, "Holy shit! People are drinking bleach, literally."
is MMS bleach though? A miracle.
As far as I can ascertain, it's hydrogen peroxide.
Peroxide.
Yeah, I don't really know much about it. MMS, Miracle Mineral Solution, is the name of it. I don't.
What of it there?
It's supposed to be good, but I've not done it. No.
No, nothing to it either.
Well, I don't know. From what Captain Bullshit put up on his channel, he basically mirrored a piece of audio footage from Vinny saying that he basically poisoned himself.
He actually heard that from Antonio. Antonio was, and his group of people were talking about the MMS. And I'm not saying it's Antonio's fault. He's trying to kill. It's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that they did talk about that a lot. But I've talked about urine therapy with Dave Murphy 25. And the reaction initially to that is, oh my God, that's disgusting. And then you're a Satanist. But then a lot of people have had good results with drinking that. So maybe hydrogen peroxide. There is a thing called 30% food grade hydrogen peroxide, and you can't buy it in a store. You have to order it, and you put drops of it, like 1 drop in a liter of water day 1, 2 drops day 2, and you build it up to like 30 drops, and it kind of tastes weird.
I put a drop of it in my ear once, Patricia.
Yeah, and you don't just like slug it down, and it's not literally like bleach, because hydrogen peroxide, if I poured it on my shirt, it's purple. I'm telling you that, Nathan, because I know you're colorblind. It wouldn't turn it white like bleach. If I poured a drop of bleach on my shirt, it would be white. So hydrogen peroxide has a bleaching effect, but it's so slight. It's not as bad as drinking bleach. It's not equal to bleach. You wouldn't put it in your laundry. But then again, I'm not condoning it.
Have you got to jump off, Jimmy? I know Jimmy's just sent a message in the chat saying he's got to jump off, or is am I misreading that? Ooh, Jimmy.
That was cool, by the way.
Robbie's really good to listen to.
Yeah, Robbie is. I'm like, I'll just sit back.
Funny man. I laugh at his videos anyways.
You always keep your point. You speak like a long period of time, but you never lose your point. I sometimes don't remember, and I have to pretend and try to wrap it up, but I totally lost it.
Yeah, I fudge too. Like goldfish.
Have you got into any debates, Robbie?
Yeah, I definitely
on-air
did,
debates,
yeah.
I mean.
On air? I got in a debate with like interviews I've done. I did that video that I put up just recently or whatever, where it was most interviews that I've done, like with radio and different things like that, it's usually more to learn and stuff. Well, one of them, they kind of bombarded me and stuff. So it was interesting because it was my first time on air live, having to, being hit with all of these things. So overall, I thought they did a good job, but I just try to keep on point, and they try to run circles and those sort of things, but you just try to, go your way through. But I mean, I'm definitely not as articulate as like a Jaren or someone else when it comes into the fine-tune, type of scientific backgrounds with physics or getting into things like this. But overall, usually I'll get people thinking, and that's my main goal. Like when I came out with Scientism Exposed, I'm actually in the process, not only just planning the conference, which is a huge endeavor in itself, but I'm also putting all the final touches on Scientism Exposed 2 right now. So I've been editing like crazy because I'll be doing the premiere at the conference as well. So, but usually with Scientism Exposed, the idea was not to bombard people, but to get them thinking. And if one thing got them going, wait a minute, that's interesting. They've only gone 400 miles. They went like 240,000 miles in the 60s and 70s, supposedly, but they've only gone 400 miles since then. That's weird. I was talking to a guy on the plane when I was shooting for the documentary, and I got talking to him. And the minute I brought that up to him, he's like, that is weird. How come they've only gone 400 miles? So we got talking, and it was a 3-hour flight. But by the end of the flight, the guy was looking into flat Earth, and he was pretty much on board. So it was pretty interesting. I had a lot of good discussions. But debates, no, I don't really get into debates because usually they'll figure out really quickly unless they're very equipped. And I'm talking online, people can quote all this stuff. But when you deal with people in the real life, they're not prepared like a flat earther's prepared. So the minute you start bringing up like 8 inches per mile squared, they're kind of like, I'll come back to this another time. I'm not debating this guy.
I mean, there's a small chunk of the detractors that we were talking about on the show that are actually so much better equipped to actually debate the majority of flat earthers, and those are the conversations that get broadcast on YouTube, and often they're the best conversations. They're pushing flat earthers to understand more. When they get caught out, there's often a load of people scribbling down going, wow, let's go and research that information then so that they can come up with a better debunking or whatever. And you need the detractors. It's the crappy detractors, the ones that are calling people Satanists and trannies and oh,
yeah,
God,
that's a whole different element. But we were all detractors at some point. At some degree, we all snickered, laughed at it. And if we were approached, with the topic maybe the same way, we would have been like, you guys are dumb. What do you mean you believe the earth is flat? So we might have come at the same level. And I know that myself personally, I laughed at it. I thought it was ridiculous. I'm like, who in the world would believe in flat earth? So, and there's other people, like, for example, the Controversy 7, he went out for 2 weeks trying to debunk it. heavily. He's like, I'm going to put this to rest with my 60,000 subscribers, and I'm going to basically show them how ridiculous this is and destroy flat Earth overnight. And he couldn't do it. So I'm saying most people, you know, and that's why I look at them. I agree with you, Nathan, that we need them. But the people that are just vicious and cruel, we don't need that at all. And that's where we need to just be like, you know, we need to ignore it. It's not the real life. People don't operate like that when you meet them in person. So therefore, understand that it's not really reality. I'm not saying that what we're doing right now is not reality, but in fact, it's true. What we're seeing on YouTube is not realistic of what real life is. It's not. People don't operate like that. So we need to look at it like it's Fantasyland. When we tune in and we look on YouTube, this is Fantasyland. Most of these people will never even be brave enough to even come to a conference and say, I was that guy. They can threat all they want, but again, the reality is they won't. So it's not real life. We need to let that bounce off us. And I mean, it's different if all of a sudden you've got 50 people in person coming up to you saying that, but the reality is you're not. I mean, Patricia, I'll guarantee you, you'll be among, you know, 550 people, and not one person viciously is going to come against you. There might be someone on the street that's not at the conference that yell, but again, they'll probably get beat up almost. You know, I worry for anyone that tries to attack someone at the conference. There's always safety in numbers, and with a community this large, as long as we don't take the same tactics, you know, and that's what I'm saying is important, that we don't, you know, go to their level. But really, the reality is that this is not happening in real life. People don't operate like this, and we need to really think about that. And when I look at comments, even on my channel, I'm like, we'll just see. I'll see if these people come to my face and say this at the conference. And the reality is they won't.
They never do. There's only been 2 people, well, 3 actually, who's ever met me who've said horrible things about me. But those 3 people have mental issues that have nothing to do with me. I was just the recipient of their mental issues. But I don't go outside or talk to my neighbors or go
500 accounts, can you? This is the thing on YouTube that's balmy.
Yes.
You know, you 500 account thing. Why is that allowed? I don't understand why someone is allowed to create a channel off the back of another channel just for the purposes of trolling. But yeah, it's perfectly acceptable on YouTube. You know, it obviously adds to the drama because you've got people in the chat of the show gone by saying, look at all the thumbs down, Patricia, look at all the thumbs down. It's like, all you're demonstrating is the fact that you can sign up to YouTube repeatedly. Well, so what? It's not real life.
This time next year, you won't be on YouTube. I heard that during Andrea Sensi's organized Thumbs Down Patricia Steer campaign, and it just was some thumbs down. Some people still, the same amount of people would still watch, and it wouldn't make a difference. Life went on.
Though. If you look at YouTube algorithms, the thumbs down shows YouTube that's an engaging video. A lot of people think that, oh, I don't want a thumbs down. YouTube actually looks at it favorably and says, this is a highly engaged video. It's controversial, but we're going to actually elevate this because people are going to talk about this further. YouTube want the traffic, they want the eyeballs, and they want people to stay on a video longer. So this whole idea that we're worried about thumbs down is completely false. If you actually start looking into search engine optimization and you look into, you know, that industry itself, YouTube does not say, oh, we're going to penalize you because you got thumbs down. You are actually going to rise in the rankings because you're highly engaged video. Your video is getting people talking and engaged. That's all YouTube cares about.
Spot on. The thing, sorry, Patricia, I was just going to say one thing.
And if I were embarrassed by it or it bothered me, I'd remove the thumbs. It's like one easy click, and I don't because I don't care. I understand a thumbs up is a thumbs down in the eyes of YouTube. But I'm not turned off by videos when they have lots of thumbs down. Sorry to interrupt.
Really sorry. Just got to add this one thing that Robbie's hit the nail right on the head with the word engagement, because that's what they're really looking at. How long people stay on the video. So I'll name him. Flat Earth Reset. Thank you so much for tuning in to 90% of the show, because that really, really helps my metrics, because it shows that you are thoroughly engaged with this content. So thank you. Be sure to subscribe.
He probably is subscribed, I would imagine. He's
probably
a fan.
50 times.
Flat Earth Reset.
That annoys me, though. I don't want socks that are subscribed. I'd rather... I mean, you've said that now, and I feel proud. I've hit 4,600 subs today. Way, but you know, it's one of those that I'd like every single one of them to be an actual person. You know, not sock accounts. That annoys me a little bit. You know, I want them to all be real people. I want to be reaching 4,600 people, not 4,600 subs that are sock accounts of the same account more than once that just wants to troll me and wants an easy route into coming into the channel. You know, that's one of the reasons I don't want to ban people. You know, hopefully the socks will get bored and they'll sod off, and then it will only be represented by real people in the numbers. You know, I don't know. One day, Martin and I may have this conversation on a different show, but you know. Oh. Yes, live with each other in the other room. Yes, yes, we've still got the behind the scenes running, but in OBS, I'm alive.
Oh.
I'm reading your chat out because that goes out too. So yeah,
Oh.
so the behind the
I'm
scenes still
alive. I didn't
runs.
know we were alive on another channel. Whatever. Like anything I say is always the same off or on camera or whatever. But yeah, I am confident in flat Earth progressing, and I'm confident that the people who are so bent on tearing other human beings down don't represent real life. I go outside, I don't see any. No one's ever called me a CIA agent or a man or what, you know, an old cougar or none of that. Just that doesn't happen in my real life. And going to the
They don't represent the community. Sorry to interrupt, but they don't represent the community. You had mentioned that hopefully if people come to Flat Earth, don't kind of watch the community, but understand that they're not part of the community. If they were, they would come to conferences, they would come to meetups, they sit behind their keyboard. So we need to realize that they're not part of the community. All they are, like, and I think IPS brought up a good point. They're like the paparazzi in the sense that there's the gossipers there, but they're slanderers. They're the ones that are actually using names to grow their channels. Understand that when people use Patricia Steer or Mark Sargent or IPS, they get numbers. I mean, they get very small numbers. Have you ever noticed that the most attack you get are from channels that have lower subscriber bases than you do? Isn't that strange? Most time, you will always find this common denominator. The most vicious attacks, YouTube-wise, come at you, have lower subscribers than you. It's rare that you have higher subscriber count channels coming against you night and day. You won't see it. It's very rare. It's a one-off, right? So again, that should tell you something. They're using it. That's their stick in life. They want to become, you know, that's just what they want to do. They want to name drop. They want to be vicious. They want to have no merit. They want to have no integrity with their journalism or whatever. I mean, you know, there were things written about me, but I will at least, you know, respect the person that wrote them, you know, to get me on the phone, to talk with me, give me the opportunity to tell my side of the story. And then he was able to, you know, retract certain aspects of his story. Still, he was asking questions, but in, you know, a few, you know, short, like in less than 2 months, all of those accusations are going to be completely unfounded in the sense that, yep, the conference happened. Everyone had a wonderful time. But this time, you know, what was it? In April, I was on the show with Nathan. And the big question was, you know, was I a big scam artist and that I was taking all this money and was going to run away and that the conference was never going to happen? These are people that don't want it to happen because they're jealous. And these channels that constantly attack us, they're jealous. They're jealous of the numbers. They're jealous. And if only they would just stop and say, look, just apologize and say, I'm sorry, I didn't know you. You know, we would embrace you and say, yeah, it's cool, you know, but it frustrates me sometimes. But again, the conference, the convention in the UK, I'm excited to meet everyone, you know, in a couple of months in November. But I'm also excited, if I don't meet you in November, I'll meet you at the UK conference in April, or the convention in April. I'm excited. I'm working with Gary. We're working with each other with our conferences and our conventions. And we're going to continually look at growing the community, looking at the big picture, because Gary and I are both the same, saying that our conventions and our conferences are all about community. They're all about the big picture. We understand that people are nitpicky and this and that. All I know, though, is if you're going out of your way and trying to destroy, you know, what's going on as the greater good, then, you know, you're not going to be part of the community, which is sad because it's a very beautiful, loving, open community. When they get away from the paranoia, when they get away from the accusations, like, for example, ODD, the minute he was stopped, just turned it off, you know, he got away from the computer and just started looking for himself. He was like, oh man, he got talking to you, Patricia, and he got to learn and get to know you. And I mean, I've got to know you. I've got to know many people. The nice thing about being an organizer at a convention or conference is you get to know a lot of people. And I'm looking forward to get to know more people, because you can hear all these crazy things, whether it's IPS or whether it's, until I get to spend an hour on the phone with someone, I cannot judge anyone. And usually I get a good sense, and I'm finding over and over and over again, the people that are rising up, that are actually becoming the bigger channels, are the ones that really are the most genuine, they're the most honest, and they're the most big picture people around.
Well said.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, cool. What about you guys? I'm pretty knackered, and I'm probably going to round out the OBS stream as well.
Nice talking to you, Robbie. As always,
Yes.
Martin, Stephen.
Yeah, good talking to you, Robbie. I don't think I ever had before.
And I'm going to be seeing you, Martin, at the UK, the one Gary's putting on in the UK.
You'll be a treat. I'll be on my. I'll have different presentations to suit whatever mood I'm in at the time. Okay, and I got a comic routine to go as well.
Oh my gosh!
I am actually not a novice at public speaking or stand-up. I should be pretty good at that. Robbie, it's a freaking honor to meet you, mate. I'm a big fan of yours. Freaking love you, dude.
Absolutely, yeah. Thank you very much.
Can't wait to meet you, brother. Good, really good.
I'll see you in April. I'll see you in April for sure, Martin.
All right.
I tell you one thing I noticed, you know, all the photographs of this year of all of the flat earth meets. Have you noticed both sides of the pond how really great the flat earthers are? They're a similar type of people, both sides of the ocean, and they're all really lovely, great, intelligent people. You got to admit. And there's been, you know, all these videos I did in, you know, where was it? Oh, Denver. Oh, and we've had them over here in Leamington. The people are awesome. And as you said, Robbie, you've got to meet another flat earther to know.
Yeah.
And the buzz, when you can talk about this stuff openly instead of in the Matrix with these lot. Oh God, which is awful. But oh yeah, it's such a blessing.
Yeah, no, it absolutely is. And like I said, Gary and I were talking about it, but after November happens, things are going to change, and they're going to change in a great way. So like I say, the conference isn't about the 2 days, it's about what is going to happen afterwards. And it's going to change a lot of people, and it's going to be an amazing thing. So yeah, it's just starting to get real exciting now. So we just need to, you know, yeah, it's awesome.
It's awesome.
It's great. It's fun.
God bless you, Robbie. Thank you, brother, for all you do.
Nice to see you, man. Thanks so much again, Nathan. It was great being on the panel, and we will talk soon, everyone.
Definitely. Thank you so much for coming. It's really real pleasure.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Talk to everyone later.
Later, Patricia.
See you later, Patricia.
Later, Mark.
Thanks, Nathan.
Oh, bit of sky. Nice. Daytime where you at? Wow. No,
yeah. When are we gonna, Martin? You and I are gonna have to do a show about fake subs, because you've got so much information on the subject, and we've never actually discussed it. I've discussed it with so many other people that are not potatoes.
I put them to my channel. People are buying them. It's terrible to think that, like, if it was a rigged game, which you're looking is, people are going to be as corrupt on here as they are in the real world. I don't see why I should be so naive to believe that it wouldn't happen. It's just, I don't like the thought. Like you said, Nathan, you know, I don't think, you know, out of 4,500 subs, there's going to be that many socks, Nathan. It's going to be bloody dozen or maybe 2 dozen. Really, it's not that many. It's just not. Don't listen to whoever said that you can pick up hundreds of codes and work out how many socks are there, because I don't believe that's the reality. I just don't.
I'm not talking about sock accounts, Martin. I'm talking about people who are actually literally buying them. Because you've got...
I know that. Yeah.
Well, you've got the inside track on a load of people that, well, I don't know. We'll save it for another show, but we'll have to talk about this, Martin. You and I.
We will address it in the future. We'll wait. We'll wait for it. We'll wait for it. Anyway, God bless you all in chat. Thanks for all of you coming along and spending so long with us. It's been a good little chat, Nathan. You've had a couple of chats full, actually.
Yeah, the one chat at one stage, I think the one that's still running, had like 100 people in it. And it just made you wonder.
Yeah, I know. Really awesome. Well,
I'm going to stick Stephen's camera on. What are you showing us, Stephen? What are you showing us?
Look, you got no chemtrails, Nathan. Nothing. It's clean.
I was just going to say, he's showing off his clear blue skies. It's like sun tracking all over again.
It's like a sewer, my sky. They had done a grade, the sun disappeared. That's beautiful. Look at that sunset.
It's beautiful.
I don't really get chemtrails. I feel sorry for you guys.
Yeah, man. Here.
Is there a big population where you are, though, Stephen? Is there a big population?
I live, or right now I'm living about 100 miles east of LA.
Yeah. Okay. Huge population, one of the biggest on Earth. Oh, wow. And they haven't come up there.
It's been like this for a while. Probably since, it's kind of weird, but since Trump was elected, it seems like the chemtrails have gone east.
Right, and it's California, and you've got a drought on, so maybe the chemtrails affect droughts, and if they're keeping off, I don't know, maybe it's connected.
Well, it seems like it rained a lot more this year than it has previous years.
Right, is it? And, it's looking green behind you, I must say. Bushes and that, not like dry, are they?
Yeah, it's still early in the cycle, and we're getting pretty good clouds coming in.
What valley's that, Stephen? Where
this is south from Palm Springs.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
a dream. It's beautiful.
Yeah, dude.
I must say.
You look on my videos. I hike around and post them.
On your journeys out and there, I don't blame you. It's a beautiful country.
Yeah.
Can't believe it. I would imagine, is it that sort of area? I always imagine it as rustic and dry looking, like the movies, but it's not. It's green and lush. It's beautiful looking. Really cool. Anyway, Nathan, I'm going to fuck off because I've been awake for days.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I have. I had 3 hours sleep last night, but I just can't be bothered. It's too much to do. Too much to do.
Yeah, fair enough, Martin.
That's what the show looked like psychologically. I'll convert it to a picture. I haven't finished it yet, obviously. I don't even know what it is. But it comes out of me whilst I'm listening to people, and they say that's a form of, basically consciousness, just projecting people's conscious thoughts through you as a medium onto paper. It's a science, and apparently it works. That's all you lot.
Cool.
I did read this.
Cool.
Oh, thanks, Nathan, mate. Good night, mate. Thanks.
No, it was wicked, mate. I really enjoy doing shows like that where it's a whole group of people. Again, so many different types of people. You've got Robbie Davidson and IPS on the same show. That's cool as frig. I think that's awesome. Don't you?
You must have like 1 million subs in one fucking audience. It's creating one panel. It's big panel. That really cool.
It's good when everyone's respective and they don't talk over each other when there's a lot of people in there.
Yeah, we're not like that. We're all veterans now.
Yeah.
Coming up to 3rd year now. Think about it. I didn't realize, Bataclan. I done a post on it earlier. I caught a woman that was there. And she was in this false flag just went in what was it? Something green. Mental block. But anyway, I caught her and I thought, fucking hell, Bataclan. I actually covered that live on my channel while it was happening. And it was in November 2015. That's almost 3 years ago now, isn't it? I was covering false flags then. Shit.
Yeah, time flies. It seems like 10 years in flat Earth years, as we put it. But it is.
Take a look. I got loads of Hereford films, right? There's loads I didn't post, right? I just didn't. Me, you, Stephen, walking around about 20 minutes or so. And I tell you, want to see how different we look, Nathan. We look about 10 years younger. Your missus is not even pregnant last. Yes, she was. She pregnant at that stage. Yes, she was. But I tell you what, looks like a long time ago now. Really weird.
No, man, she's back to normal now, as far as I can tell. She doesn't look any different to before she was pregnant. She just looks exactly the same to me now.
Yeah, my missus went back to a size 10 within a week, 2-3 weeks, something like that. Soon goes back. So they're designed for this baby stuff. They just, that's what they do. I don't know.
Yeah, man, it's like they made of rubber or
Nathan
something.
definitely looks different than he did years ago.
Looks what?
You look different than you did your earlier videos.
Yeah, that's
like with Matt or
having
Ika.
a child.
You got replaced with a clone Nathan, a dark Nathan.
Yeah,
got replaced with somebody much more civilized.
Yeah, I don't think they got them. Like different moods Nathans in this shop, all different Nathans. So, which Nathan did you choose?
Oh man, I was so pissed at the beginning of this stream. Did you see what happened?
No. Oh well, IPS. What's his name? La Reset, is it?
No, nothing like that. So I'm talking for me, obviously. So,
I know what.
Yeah, the people. It's just about me. So on the beginning of this stream, right, I had 2 streams set up. The main show one, which is now finished, and this one. And as soon as I fired this up, I do my intro and I explain, say hello to a few people in chat, go to start the hangout, and they've all vanished. I was like, well, that's the whole point.
It was an empty fucking chat. I went to 2 empty chats. Stephen, where you going?
Oh, Stephen, you can do something for me. Hold on, Martin. Martin, Stephen, right. Oh, are you on headphones?
Yeah, it's like...
Right, so wherever your mic is, cup the mic. So if it was a phone... Glad this is still broadcasting, because I can actually show this. Right, so if you're filming, right, my mic's here. When you hold it, you cup the mic if you're doing a selfie broadcast so that it doesn't catch the wind. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Right.
So yeah, if you're filming out in a windy environment with a phone, this is Oakley Tech Tips right here. So yeah, you cup the mic so that you don't get the wind noise into the microphone. And also, this really bugs me, people who film like that, they need to be taken outside and shot in the face.
Dark Nathan.
They're like that, little slivers. Can you turn your phone, please? In a Nathan. Best
There you go,
friends
Martin.
ever, like that. Oh.
People who film with a slithery phone. And I saw an advert for the iPhone 10, and one of its features was something to do with portrait photography. I was like, the guy who came up with that idea of filming in really low definition, in the worst possible resolution with black bars either side, that guy, man, that girl, just someone needs to have a word. Because it just needs to be removed from the feed. It just needs to be so that when you film like that, it obviously is filming sideways, so that you just by natural instinct have to turn it, so that everything is forced to be shot in high def, 16:9, like so it'll fit on a damn television. You know, how many people when they're filming like this think, that's going to look wonderful when I put it on YouTube, you know, and then they put it on YouTube and it's got like 90% of the picture missing. You got like some plane crash or something dramatic that's happening, and you know, I reckon half the time that's probably why it's been done. They've engineered in crapo vision into most people's phones because they know that most people go, I've got to film that. And then what you end up with is a load of shaky garbage photography, because the quality of most people's phones these days is phenomenal. Most people's phones will shoot in high definition. So there's no excuse for all the crap footage we get. Apart from, you know, people just claim it's false flags, and it's actually it's very much intentional, and that's why it's done like that. And it's just slipping it under the radar by having every single iPhone filming crapo vision. But there we go. That's me with my conspiratard head on, being a conspiratard.
Good days. I went through all the music tracks I've appeared on today. I played the one with me and Ace McLeod. Ace McLeod is called Ace, and it's flat. It's Flat by Frank Zappa. And I literally got a file with about 10 different music tracks that I've had to appear in over this period of flat earthness. Really cool, isn't it? Period. And good songs too. Proper productions. Fucking awesome.
This ski ninja doesn't do his own music, but he puts together some pretty crazy videos with you and I.
I loves him. I loves his stuff. It's really crazy. The one I can't really get the what are they called? Them fucking ninja things dressed in red and green and yellow boiler suits. Obviously not my generation, so I wouldn't know this.
Oh, you mean the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers?
Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, exactly. So what's that one all about?
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, he's got one where he's got like a pumpkin man in it.
The Pumpkin Man.
Yeah, I don't know, man. The Seeking. Let's just get his name in once. So the Seeking Ninja. That's how you say it.
Yeah, man. Blessed brother, and we appear in almost every video that he's ever done. For some reason, it's true.
Right, guys, I'm going to round out this OBS stream and actually go to bed, I reckon. So, thank you very much, Stephen, for being here. It's been nice. Can you show us your views again? I'm going to stick the camera on you, mate.
Yeah, that's it. Snack, brother. Snack of the future. I think she's so beautiful.
Before we do go, Martin, do you want to do some shout outs to whoever's left in the chat?
Yeah, man. Snacks there. AC Babes, Ace McLeod, and we got Zoe be here now in love. One of your biggest fans, Mr. Ranty Rant. God love him. Monique. I met Monique. She's a lovely girl. I think that Flat Glenn Clark Earth is our Glenn, the man in Vancouver himself. Gas AKAG. I'm talking chemtrails. Morky Lover. Morky Love. Nanu. Ches, who's always around. I'm missing anyone. Iron. Oh, well, he's always around Iron. He's been flat earth for 4 years now as Iron. I think that's about it. Eric Charles is there. Citizen Z. And Timaeus and Anzes and all the guys, mostly Nathan and Brandon Cook. And anyone else I missed out, my apologies. Half a million trolls. Trying to find out who I know. But luckily enough, in your chat, Nathan, most of them I know because, you know, there are a lot. And
like you say, we've been around a while.
Exactly. And V-Boy, but he's gone on nutty, so I don't know what's fucking going on with him. He's fucking head sorted. Oh, I need a skeptic. Apart from that, everyone. Awesome. Fucking epic, guys. Yes, love you, Marky, too. And there's 69 of them still watching. So we're going to fuck off to bed, guys. It's late in the UK. It's getting on for 2 o'clock. So we're going to see one scene. I mean, Nathan, soon.
Excellent, Martin. Pop yourself on mute for a second and I'll actually do a proper round out. So that's been it. Epic. Wonderful. Thank you very much to all who joined the show and joined the behind the scenes show and chatted afterwards and before and all the rest of the good stuff. And as Martin's just done the shout outs to the few people who are left on the behind the scenes stream, thank you very much for being here. It's been a real pleasure. Be sure to get my little plug in, like, subscribe, comment below. I've been Nathan Oakley. I will see you all in the next video.